So it's been a while,
Yeah.
and we haven't had you on in a while because some things have been going on. And I just want to get people up to speed real quick is that you just got out of jail for the last, how many days?
90 days.
You did 90 days in what prison?
It was in the Supermax, Wyoming County Correctional Facility. They have it set up like a Supermax. It's so ridiculous. It's a county prison, county jail, but when you're inside of it, they have it set up like a Supermax. And
So I'm laughing because of how ridiculous this is. So we're going to go back in time a little bit, but real quick, what was the reason that they put you in there? And then I want to move backwards in time. Like, what do they say was the reason? And then we'll go explain all that.
Sure. So I had some run-ins with the judicial system, and the school system had a legal attack against me, a criminal legal attack they placed against me. And they wound up slow walking me through their process, which I never agreed to, because believe it or not, you have to agree to be in this legal system by pleading in to the system,
Right.
You're pleading guilty, not guilty. A good example is when you're going to hear what happened, they were actually, the worst case scenario would have been 20 years in prison, or the plea bargain was $500 fine, 6 months worth of probation.
They don't seem equivalent.
No. So, but if most people would think, wait a minute, you didn't take the $500 and the 6 month probation. If I did, that means I'd have to admit to something I didn't do, because I didn't do anything wrong. I knew I had the right to do what I was doing.
You called me from prison, and I actually said that to you, and I'm like, George, just pay the money.
Yeah.
And you were like, no, I'm not doing it. And I was like, you earned my respect in that moment.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, my friends, right? Just like you just did here, my friends would say I'm brave, and my detractors, if you would say I'm a dumbass. He's crazy.
Yeah, you're a fool.
Yeah. So one saying I'm brave, one saying I'm a fool. Quite frankly, it's just I'm a man of my word, a man of honor. I can't sit there and say I did something that I didn't do. The judge, the one day when it was sentencing, he's like, Mr. Yuhas, you have not even admitted guilt to any of these crimes. I said, Your Honor, I said, you could bring a guillotine in here, and I would only ask you to wait until my family can come and watch so they can get some revenge,
Right.
Because I didn't do anything. And quite frankly, Your Honor, you're not going to give me a day in jail, I said to him, right?
So when we've had you on before, it was a hard concept for me to grasp. In other words, like this experiment of America and the rules and the legal system and the Constitution and how they use words to manipulate things. And I firmly believe that there's a lot of people, let's just call them self-preservationally illiterate.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that like you and a couple other people that I really respect, and if it wasn't for like Angelo, whom I love like a brother,
and soon like a son for me.
Soon, yeah.
Well, already like a son for me, but they'll be solid.
I saw him one day. It was like 2 years after the COVID stuff. I haven't seen him, and he sat and talked to me. We were at the V Spot.
Right.
And he told me all this shit, and I'm looking at him going like, wait, this is like beyond my comprehension. Like, I don't understand. He goes, you need to talk to Courtney's dad.
Yeah.
And that's how you and I connected.
Right.
And from there on, you've been nothing but like a good person.
Yeah.
I
appreciate that.
For the people in your life, the friends in your neighborhood, and you're out there fighting for people who have no idea that you're fighting for them.
No. And I don't want the badge of honor for doing that.
Yeah, you do it without I don't want any claim. I don't want anything. Yeah.
But I put it this way. When I was, my kids were growing up, my son specifically, not to say my girls wouldn't have gone to the Marine Corps, but I always worried my son was going to join the Marines, so I didn't want to be the one to egg him on, because I have all my awards up on the wall and, the devil dog this and the Marine Corps flag. It wasn't going to do that, and didn't want to be the influencer. If he was going to do it, it's going to be his own call.
And you were in for what years?
I was in from 90 to 94.
Okay. Yeah.
I was in 0311, which is infantry. And it's pretty hostile, right? It was a pretty hostile time. I know every every 4 to 6 years we get into some stuff. But with AI, your listeners, you, anybody, you know, instead of making me show you or tell you, I can just tell you that they were probably some of the 4 deadliest years on earth, if you would, because of the genocide that was happening in Bosnia, the way that the Serbians,
the Balkans,
the way they were just killing each other in droves. You figure when we went into Iraq, one of our missions was to set them back 100 years, right? So how do you set back an army 100 years? You destroy everything and everybody you can, right? So rules of engagements are off the table. You're just blowing stuff up. You're killing people just to set them back 100 years,
right?
You know, that was like, if you would, the mission statement: set them back 100 years.
Send them into the Stone Age.
Pretty much,
yeah.
Yes. And then you have Somalia again, Ethiopia, Somalia.
Was Rwanda during that too?
It was just after. Well, no, Rwanda actually come up after that, because it was a lot of, whenever there's like an earthly problem, like either a famine or something like an earthquake on top of a civil war, more famine and death. Africa blows my mind. They're one of the richest countries on the planet, and we keep them convinced that they're poor and they got to have fat bellies and eat rice. They have so much wealth in that country.
Well, that's for another podcast.
Yeah,
but my buddies are from Africa, and they're like, you know, they're like, it's just the rich. Mm-hmm. The rich get the grain, the rich get the money, the rich get the arms, and we get nothing.
I have a friend from Nigeria. I communicate with them often. My yams are maybe like this big.
Yeah.
Over there in that terrible soil or whatever, in the rough terrain, he has yams the size of his arm. Like I'm asking him to smuggle
fertile soil.
I'm asking him to smuggle some. I want to know how is he doing this? You know, I get a bigger supply if I can grow them the size of my arm.
So let me just cut you off, because I know we're going to be here for like 8 hours. Because I thoroughly enjoyed listening.
Well, let me finish up there.
Sorry.
So it would have been in Somalia, and then, you know, coming through the Mediterranean, we would have worked in Bosnia, and most of the missions there we were tactical recovery of aircraft and pilots, because we were on missions there where we were destroying whoever equipment was in the open, and if it was in the open, we would find it, laser it, and blow it up. It was just like kind of like probably what's happening in Ukraine right now. We're probably just blowing up Russian stuff to blow it up as soon as we see it. You know, and same thing was happening over there. And then we were home for one day. We unloaded the USS Trenton, and we were in the barracks. Next morning, they call us to formation with all of our gear. We're thinking, okay, somebody's missing a weapon or something. Like, why are they bringing us back to formation with all of our gear? They literally put us back on the ship the next day. And we went to Haiti when Port-au-Prince was on fire.
Yes.
And there was a big civil war happening down there. And that's always like Haiti. What does Haiti produce? It produces death, famine, and just genocide. That's what Haiti produces, you know?
And the crazy thing is there's a big line in the middle of that island, and on the other side is the Dominican Republic.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And they're not killing each other.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yep. It's all bureaucracy. People build it. But
so you've seen the shit.
I would never think during that time, because I was a young Marine, right? I was just growing up into the NCO ranks. And I would swear that every Marine was experiencing what I was experiencing. I wouldn't have known that was odd for us to keep getting redeployed. Like I've never been deployed and not be in hazardous combat duty. Right. Where some Marines will go. I have a friend that was a airborne ranger. Never fired his weapon in anger once. 25 years. You go down his basement, you swear to God, he's like a hero, right?
Yeah.
Because he loves his stuff. And I hid my stuff from my son. I didn't want him to be motivated by it. And he said, you know, George, I never fired my weapon in anger once, 25 years. And then here I am, part of, the 24th MU, part of a Raider platoon with the 3rd Battalion, 6th Marines Lima Company. And all we did was just, every time we go home, Colin Powell's rule was, if they're not trained up, and training doesn't mean coming out of a classroom, getting on a helicopter and going, because that's what used to happen in Vietnam. And kids were dying within the first couple, like their boots weren't even scuffed and they're dead.
Yeah.
So he wants you in country. He wants you getting not just a training, but he wants you to have 100 hours on a helicopter, 100 hours in a Humvee, 100 hours behind your rifle, 100 hours behind a machine gun. So in order to get that, you have to do more than just go to the basic schools. You got to go get beat up. You want your camis faded, if you would, before you even go see the shit, if you would, you know? And I like that. It's a great theory. For us, I guess the politicians who were in during the 90 to 94 was the kind of politician who lowers the defense spending and raises domestic spending. So there wasn't enough spending to ramp up other units. So every time something blew up and we were in the area, like, hey, why don't you go back and take care of this? Because nobody's ready to go over there. And we have, by rule, you know, time in the field. So we have training. So because we got amped up in the Persian Gulf, we were perfect for Somalia, because once the Black Hawk Down happened, we went in and it was a very specific mission. We were given pictures of everybody who had to die, who were chopping up the Rangers and the Delta team, who stole their gear, stepped on their skulls, hung them from the bridges, caught them on fire. We had pictures of everybody who was responsible for that, because there was journalists out there, you know. Mm-hmm. And we literally had them, and we were like, there he is.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one over there. You know, and anybody wearing the gear, you know, it was a revenge mission, period. Like, get back the gear, get back the bodies, you know. And then we were like a back door so everybody can get out. And we came in on rubber rafts. We're like, how the hell are we getting out here? Because they took our boats.
Yeah.
It's a long swim back, you know.
Yeah.
But the same guy who evacuated Saigon was part of the planning, and he evacuated us using helicopters, because we woke up one morning like, what's that sound? And even we were tricked, because we were told we were leaving on a certain date, and it was meant to leak into our interpreters, who happened to be loose lip sync ships type people. And it was done on purpose, because they were planning for an attack 2 weeks later.
What country is this in?
This is Somalia.
Okay.
So it was like a psyop on purpose, because we were all convinced too, and we were just chatting it up like young Marines, you know.
Right.
Hey man, we're leaving in 2 days, you know, or in 2 weeks or whatever. And it was opposite. So we woke up to the sound of the thud. Like, what is that sound? You know, it was like 60 different helicopters came in and swooped in.
Wow.
Got everybody, just ripped us out of there. You know, within 30 minutes, we were off the airfield, the entire battalion gone. We left Israelis and Pakistanis behind to hold down the fort, but those guys are maniacs.
So, I mean, in terms of like life experience and to be in conflict and to see what humanity is capable of, I think that puts you in a really unique position to kind of sound the alarm on like what is going on and what people have to always be resilient against. Mm-hmm. And did that inform? So let's catch up to when you started
doing what
making noise.
Making noise.
Okay. Yeah.
I gotta grab something. Hang on.
Okay. I don't know what I'm supposed to do now, George. What are you getting? What's that? Is that a pocket constitution?
Yep, that's it. I want to make sure. I just want to make sure I have these little.
Hold on, they're upside down.
Oh.
And we'll do them this way.
Yeah. So I got the Declaration, I got the Constitution, Declaration of Independence. That's
Yep. Yep. You can see them.
See them?
Yep.
Okay. I love having them around.
So what was the impetus? What was the thing? Because you weren't really like a rabble rouser or kept your own, raised your kids, loved your family.
I came home, I'm sure, with PTSD, didn't want to admit it.
Right.
You know, didn't want to admit it. I was too tough for that, too strong for that. I'll take care of it, you know. I didn't allow myself to have a gun for the first 2 years that I was home. So if I'm willing not to have a gun for the first 2 years when I'm home, I'm sure I probably need a little bit of help, but I was just refusing it, you know, because if, you know, I couldn't live in the city. So I picked someplace out where there was no street lights, where I know every car that's coming up and down the road, like, oh, that's Mrs. Smith.
Right.
Oh, here comes Mr. Johnson, half a mile away. I know the sounds of the car, and I know when there's a strange car. And when there's a strange car on my road, I follow it.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Did you always do that? I mean, after you got out of the service?
Always, yeah. I still do it now. Yeah. So if I see a white van on my
I'm not
road,
laughing at you. It's just like it's probably prudent, but like a lot of people won't do that.
Yeah, I'll just follow them right to my neighbor's house, and then I'll
that's
pull in
good.
right behind them and act like I was going to see my neighbor, but I was really going to see what do you want with my neighbor. You know,
right.
Yeah, I'm just dropping off a washer. put down the gun, sir.
Yeah.
So I do have a pretty hostile event that happened, and let me preface a lot of stuff. Real quick.
Please.
Yeah. So let's do this. So I'm going to tell a lot.
It's nice to see you smile after 3 months of being in jail.
Oh yeah.
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I decompressed it. I got out on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I had about 7 days to decompress, put on about 10 pounds, and those 7 days, I lost 32, 34 pounds in jail. Yeah, in about the second half, because I never expected to be there for 14, let alone 30, let alone 60, then 90. If they told me 90, I would have made plans.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking I was packing shit up. I'm giving away my good shoes. I'm giving stuff away every 14 days. I'm giving shit away thinking I'm out the door.
No.
I got nothing. I'm giving stuff away. But
so preface.
All right. So I come home from the service, I'm decompressing myself. I'm working it. I was hostile. Right? I was young. I was still, just still mean, if you would. My wife loved me. She dealt with me. We did good, right? We start making babies, and the kids was a good PTSD relaxer, if you would, kept you busy, right? You concentrate on other things than any of you got too much to worry about, I got to protect my kids, raise their animals, gardens, just all the stuff that's therapeutic, in my opinion, that keeps you from having to do pharmaceutical or therapy.
Yeah, I'm with you.
If I did both of those things, now that I've been in jail, there's a chance I might have had a different life, a faster pace, growing life instead of like a slow, drawn out one. But how bad can it be? Because think about the 3 kids I got.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, so I'm afraid that if I did any of the other stuff,
you wouldn't have awesome kids.
Who knows what the outcome would have been? Because
no regrets.
Because what I created, I heard a story one time. One of the greatest things you can give your kids is a little bit of impoverishment.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, I didn't plan it, but I like the saying because I can't.
It was all part of the plan.
Yeah, I can't apologize. It's like it's tough because you can't say I'm sorry I couldn't get you all those things,
right?
Because you can't do that your whole life. Say sorry for things you didn't do, because the things that I did do and we did together made who they are, and I can take any one of them and put them on. You can spin a wheel, and I'll put them in Greece. I can put them in Africa. I can put them anywhere, and I know that in about a year they'll say, "Hey, I'm good to go. I'm going to stay here for another year. I'll see you in a little while."
Yeah.
And they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
No money, no anything. Just drop them. And
it's a good feeling as for a parent.
Yep. And it's not that I'm done, because I want to see grandkids and stuff like that. I want to see my kids grow. But if something was to happen to me, I'm okay. They're okay. Good to go.
Right.
Moving forward, But then my wife, started working for the school, and it was during the pandemic.
The Tunkhannock School District?
Tunkhannock Area School District. And they were holding on to some masking policies and stuff. And, I had the spray stuff at my door at the house. I didn't have a microscope to see the bug, to see if this is real.
Yeah. I
trusted immune systems for sure, because one of our jokes at the house was, "Hey guys, school's in 2 weeks. Lick the bottom of your shoes."
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're in I have all the animals and stuff. Just build up your immunities, because sure enough.
Yeah. It's that George Carlin joke. He's like, "We used to swim in the East River. We never got sick."
Yeah. So my wife's like, "You got to do something," because they were talking about, giving the shot in order for the football players to play. I'm like, nobody's giving my kid a shot without my permission, and they acted like they had the authority. And I'm like, man, these are good people that I helped elect to get on there. And there wasn't a single one that I either didn't or wouldn't have coffee or a beer with.
Right.
They were my friends.
You're talking about on the school board.
School board, yeah. And it was confusing because they really thought they had this authority. I'm like, where the hell are they getting this? And it's hard to imagine I just did 90 days for a technical violation of probation. That's never been proven. It's an alleged one. To think that I did 90 days, and I'm a rule follower. Like, I'm telling you, I'm a rule follower, period, end all. I mean, will I push it to the limit? You're damn right I would, because I also know with those compulsory rules, there's compulsory duties to give me certain privileges and rights up to a certain point, and you're going to give me every one of them, or you're going to wind up crossing the line. So when I cross the line, go ahead and punish me. but I got to keep you on your side of the line too, because they tend to push a little bit too hard on their compulsory duties.
So for those following along, right?
Yeah.
I just want to let them know that you speak in like this parlance that is not very familiar for people.
Yeah.
Right. So when you use like compulsory and you say these words, those are probably the way we should talk about those things.
Yeah.
But because we have neglected talking about that for, it seems almost like generations.
Yeah.
That it's I just want to let people know that if you pay attention.
Yeah.
This is what I wasn't doing with you in the beginning, is I wasn't paying attention.
Yep.
And it was very confusing for me.
And being in jail was very important, because when I tried to tell guys this on the casual,
yeah, they're like, what?
Yeah, I was driving them nuts. So then I didn't want to drive nuts, but I learned so much. Like I learned about 5 to 10 different guys in there that I want to help as though I'm a lawyer, but I can't. And I didn't help them. And I don't plan on helping them right now, because the best way I can help them is help me first.
Yeah, totally.
Because when I get this done, then you just scratch my name up and put your name on top, and you do the same thing.
Right.
Because
it's almost like an American pay it forward.
I have a bad habit of protecting people. Like I'm a protector, right?
Yeah,
you fall in the icy river today. I have a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
And I have a bicep injury here, and I know I can't swim, but I can't let you be in that icy water by yourself. I got to figure this out.
I'll drown trying to save you.
Yeah. And I don't like it. My kids, my wife, I'm sure are going to hate it. And I'm going to hate it as I get older, because, I got to have a lot of rope in my car, because I keep talking about this like it's going to happen one day. So I got to start putting rope in my car.
Yeah.
And if someone's coming in, I don't know if you're armed or not, but if somebody was coming through that door and neither one of us are armed, I'm still going to try to figure something out. I'm going to be between you and them. I'm going to try not to, for either one of us to get killed. I'll start throwing shit, doing stuff, screaming. I'll just be all whack. I don't care. I'll do something. But then I can sit here and do nothing. I ain't rolling up in a ball. I just can't do it. It's not that I'm being Joe Bravery. It's just not designed.
It's not in your DNA.
Yeah. When I was in the Army, when you get ambushed, you get down and then you start shooting and moving. Right. So it's a whole different, that's an ambush, right? You're walking, get ambushed, get down, turn. Everybody's shooting and moving. In the Marine Corps, because I was in the Army first, once I joined the Marines, when you get ambushed, you turn towards the fire and you go. There's no getting
You run
down.
towards
you, because you put their heads down and you just return fire. It makes it harder. I can get off track real bad.
So you're
compulsory stuff.
Yeah, but so I just want to give people like just a basis for, it's like you're not speaking Greek.
Yeah, no.
You're speaking in ways that like once it clicks in your head. And for some people it might never click, but for the people who will click in their head, I want them to pay attention to it,
right? Because
your words are very important, and you use them specifically and with purpose.
And you can come back and look at this 3 years from now,
and it'll still and
you're either you're gonna get it, because I get more and more every year. I have so many files in my brain that I had to learn in order, because I would go to seminars, I would go meet people live.
Yeah, that's what Angela told me. You guys went up to like the New England or something like that for a thing.
What I do is you have to sit. It's kind of like if you sit with a guy that's great, right? Let's say you, and you start talking about UFOs, and I'm not there.
Yeah. But
I know on the other side of the UFO story, everything else I want, I'm going to sit here and listen to the UFO story. It's going to get logged someplace. And then when I see my first one, I'm going to be like, oh.
And then all of it's going to click.
Yeah. So I'm not going to let it go, because I trust you on everything, but I'm not there. So I want to hear about the other stuff.
Right.
So hang on to me, learn what you want to learn from me, because I learned a lot. I always had this saying that it's like a minefield. I helped me, Ken, Patton, and Howard Frisvold are going to be like the 3 founders of the Citizen Advisory of Pennsylvania. The guys that are running it now won't appreciate it. They're going to say, no, it was us. But you can look at the founding documents. We were the first ones who formatted it. In order to get the permit, it had to be who was talking about this the longest, and we had to sign an affidavit in order to get our first permit to do things, right? So those are the first 3 guys who were starting talking about it, and then quickly found Ben and quickly found Jamie. And they were like, we might have been the talkers around a table, if you would, the founding talkers, but the true founding fathers, yes, Jamie, Ben, and us, those 2 guys were just too old to try to keep up with how fast paced Ben and Jamie and those girls can be, they really ramped it up real nice. As soon as I built it, I'm like, I got to get out of here. Right. Cause it was.
And what year is this?
It was probably around 22, 23, around the pandemic time too, it was.
It might have been 2021, right around that time.
Oh yeah. It was. Yeah. Cause the pandemic was, it was sooner than that. You're right.
Yeah.
So
and I just real quick, you said you're a protector. I agree with you. I still think you're doing that mission, even if it's through words and education. And so now we're going back to what started this.
Right.
And you mentioned that your wife said you got to do something, and I think it marinates into the citizens advisory stuff too.
Yeah,
so I'm just trying to.
Thank you.
You're 1,000 points of light, and I'm just trying to focus the beam, man.
Yeah. And that's one of my disorders that they decided to give me.
I would happily just sit and just like smoke a joint and just be like, just keep going, George. Like, because I learned so much just from listening to you.
Yeah. So the pandemic, it really stretched all of our politicians, both sides. It taught them how to how to turn safety into money. For your safety, we're going to do this, and exacerbate, exaggerate everything. They learned how to write grants and stuff to really make those yucky grills on the wall so bad they had to get replaced with $60,000 grills, and just spend money just to spend it, the old government thing.
And nobody was paying attention to them.
Yeah, that's when we were arguing about the ESSER money. Where is it all going? And they renamed it, and that's what allowed them to start using it for the DEI stuff. Like, no, that was supposed to be for keeping your hands clean and not spreading germs. And somehow they captioned it and were able to use it for stupid shit. Anyhow, they were going to give my son a shot or something like that. And the one football coach, and I'm like, you're not going to do that. Yes, we are. He's our football player.
So this is 2021.
Yeah, he's my son. You're not doing this, right? And I started studying, like, well, something gives these guys. I have a little respect for them. I had a lot of respect. I still do. They just don't know what they're doing. It's almost like they know not what they do. So forgive them.
Yeah. It's like being mad at somebody for not understanding Latin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I hear some pastors who want to try and put the lid on me and kind of squelch me a little bit. They'll be like, you're supposed to respect your government as though God ordained them, because God did ordain them. Fine. God ordained the government, right? The authority, because the Bible says follow the authority like God ordained them, because he did. Well, perfect. I appreciate that. So the Bible, those words are said, and that's true as the day is long. I'm telling you, that's what it says. And I'm telling you that you should do the same thing, Marky. The problem is those guys don't spend any time in here, because the power is with the people. The authority is with the people, not the governing bodies that they put in place. We're a government of the people, for the people, and by the people, right? Government of the people, by the people, for the people. So we're the government. Those are governing agencies. They're actually service corporations. They've been incorporated since 1873, 1871. Lincoln has them all in court, has the governments now incorporated. They're service corporations, period. They're service corporations right now. The probation office that takes care of me are service corporations for the bigger corporation. My county is traded on the stock market. So is everybody else's. They have I think they call it UEI or UIE number now. It used to be the Brad and Dunn Street. Is that right?
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the stock market. But they kind of changed it to try to hide it. Just go to your courthouse and ask for the Dun and Bradstreet phone number, or the UIE or UEI number, the stock market number, and they're going to give it to you. And then you have to ask yourself, why does your county have a stock number? Because they're traded. It gets complicated, but there are corporations, okay? And we have to know that we're doing.
So is the school district a corporation?
Yeah, the school district is a person. It's a person. United States government is a person, a legal person. It has rights. They have rights.
Now, this isn't crazy, because I watched this documentary on Netflix. It was called, I forget the name of it. It was like Capitalism, like the True Story or something like that. And it went through all of, like, corporations are people. Yeah. And that was basically what the whole documentary was.
Not people, persons.
Persons. Yeah. Well,
yeah, no, it's a
back
big
to semantic things. You know what I mean? Like words are important.
Yep.
Right?
Because the Constitution is like we the people, right? And it doesn't say persons in here at all, So we the people, so we got freed, right? To keep it short, the king freed the people. He did, and he probably could have steamrolled over us. We were kicking ass, right? We were definitely costing him a lot of money, and he had other wars to worry about. And I don't think that we would have fought like hell, right?
Yeah.
But they were doing pretty good, and they had the largest navy in the world, so it was going to be hard to completely beat them. We just like any good insurgency, you can win a war with good insurgency, and we did. And the king's like, okay, we got to stop this. We got to get commerce going again. So he kind of,
that was the whole stop fighting in ranks.
Yeah.
It was a very guerrilla warfare. I believe
Yep.
the Army Rangers came out of that.
So you think about the Marines. Top is dark blue and their bottoms are light blue.
Mhm.
Like today, the Marines uniform is two different colors, very dark blue and light blue, because they took their top off and they leave it back at the garrison, and they'd be crawling around out there, doing their thing, with their lesser clothes on, not being all gaudy with their tops on. And when they got back and put it on, it wasn't sun bleached, but their pants were.
Okay.
So that's a tradition of why we have light blue pants and dark blue tops.
Okay, did not know that.
Yep. So that's part of that.
School board.
School
They
board.
want to inoculate your son.
Yeah. So they want to do that. And I want to know what gives them that power and that authority. So I kind of just do a little research.
Now you're not deep down the rabbit hole of
No,
this.
I'm not even in the Constitution yet. I'm using, because we had that one video that got nearly 2 million views in 24 hours. And
Yeah, we were fighting the school boards.
yeah. And that was coming out of the Citizen Advisory, because we're trying to find out where all the ESSER money was going. So it was a way of uniting people. Everybody loves to know where their money's going. You're supposed to, right? Taxation with representation. If it's our taxpayer money, whether it's federal or local, where's it going? Where would it come from?
Yeah.
But we were chasing people around trying to figure it out. So I was reading the laws that they're bound to follow, like the right to know laws, the taxpayer Bill of Rights, and all this other stuff. And I'm realizing there's this thing called parentis and loco, where we used to enroll our kids, but when you register something, you're actually registering to that entity to be, if you would, part owner in that. So by registering your kids at school instead of enrolling them, we kind of apply to this parentis and loco thing. And we all know there's kids that we want our school to take care of, the ones that are withdrawn, that have cigarette burns on their arms. Their parents aren't taking care of them. They're malnourished. They got gray rings around their eyes. But our school doesn't know how to separate. They just swoop everybody under their wing instead of just the ones that need to be administered over. They have a bad habit of administering over everybody.
Right. Okay.
If you show up as a parent, you say, "Hey, I'm here. I'll take care of this." Like, no, it's too late, Mr. Yuhas. For their safety and for your safety, we got them. Parentis and loco, It's like,
okay.
Oh my God, no. It reminded me of when the federal government, anyway, I mean, right in Pennsylvania, where they went down to Lancaster, I think in the 50s, they were trying to force compulsory school on the Amish, and they brought school buses and the National Guard and the state police to go gather up these kids from the one room schoolhouses. And the Amish aren't fighters. And they're like, what's going on here? And Pennsylvania's passed a law. It's school's compulsory for all kids. They all have to go to school now. And in good old fashioned Rush German or whatever, they and they told the kids run, and the kids all ran. And there was photographers there and got pictures of all the.
I remember this.
Trying to catch the
I remember
kids,
seeing this.
running
Yes.
into the fields, running into the corn, running into the woods and hiding. And eventually they had to withdraw, like the governor, the senators, whoever was doing this had to withdraw this idea. Like, oh, stop, everybody stop. This is not good for publicity.
Yeah.
And they learned to leave the Amish alone, right? Because the Amish are private people. There's only 3 types of people on this continent, right? The United States of America. It's going to be private people, public people, or alien. That's it. There's no 4th, 5th, or 6th. That's it. That's really it. You're going to class them into that. We all think we're private. We want to be private and we want to be left alone. And the Amish are a little too private. They're kind of quirky and they do things old fashioned. They don't like electricity and all that. So people get a little bit, taken back by it. But thank God they're practicing, because they can teach us a thing or two if we study hard enough.
Right.
And I can see them making some errors, because my friends, I go to Lancaster for our honeymoon, and we go there every year. And my Amish friend was bragging how him and a bunch of his friends got $88,000 worth of COVID. Was it PPP money?
Yeah, payroll protection.
Yeah, they got $88,000 worth of checks written in their name, and they had a burning ceremony.
Really?
Yeah, and they burnt that. Right?
Really?
And what do you think about that? That's pretty wild, right?
It's pretty punk rock.
Yeah, they showed that government, didn't they?
Yes.
But if you're George, guess what George knows? How'd the hell they get your name in the first place?
Right.
How'd they get your name? You're on a registry someplace. You're not as private as you think you are.
Right.
So, but they're not fighters. They don't record shit. That someone like me can't be. I'd have to go do it for them, right? Because they're not going to go do this fight. So what they did was they started getting mailboxes, save about 30 minutes a day going to the post office to get your mail. So why not get a mailbox? Well, guess what you got to do? Got to register your parcel. And before you know it, you start overlaying all these legal things that they start putting their probes into you. So now they're gaining joinder of you.
Yeah.
You know, they start talking about birth certificates and stuff, and some of them do it, some don't. Some still give birth right at home like they should, to be honest with you, because what they've done to our hospitals, they turned our hospitals into a transmitting utility where everybody turns their kids over. Because if I was born in Pennsylvania, I'm automatically, you go to your county courthouse today and you're trying to get your visa, right? Or your passport.
Mm-hmm.
It asks you want a United States citizen passport or a national passport. And most people don't even care about the national thing. They don't even care to know what it is because they know they're U.S. citizens because they were told they're a U.S. citizen, and they got to be proud to be a U.S. citizen. We're trained to do that. So they all pick that. So when you're born a national. You were born a state national, period. You still are a state national. Everybody is a state national. People who think state nationals are sovereign citizens. No, you knucklehead. You are a state national today. If you were born on the land of Pennsylvania, you're a state national of Pennsylvania, which happens to be a national of all the states because they're united. So you're a state national of all the states. You're American state national, period. That's what you are. Nobody is going to tell me you're not, right? Unless you have renounced that and became a French citizen or something else, and you renounce and nobody, not you, are you a U.S. citizen? You're going to say, yeah. You can never prove it. Go prove it. Where did you elect to be a state citizen? You never did. Your mother turned you over, right? And all she did was renaturalize you to the United States government, which is a corporation. The United States government said that what they should have said to your mother is, hey, lady, you're about to give birth to that child. This happens to be the committee that's going to sit here and have a constitutional style contract with you where there's full disclosure, 2 mutual agreeing parties, wet ink signatures, mutual benefit. There's like 8 things that makes a constitutional contract. What you get is some mean old nurse comes in, sign right here, you can't take your kid home.
Right.
That doesn't sound like a constitutional contract. But if they do it right, which is awkward, right? Because legs are up in these turnips and stuff,
right,
like, or whatever they're called. And
I don't want to say stirrups because it sounds like a horse.
Yeah,
I don't know yet.
We're going to get in trouble.
No. If that's what they get us for, I'll take it.
All right.
You guys said stirrups.
But that birth certificate is a great thing. It really is a great thing. I used to think like some people are like, you don't want it. No, you want it. It's the greatest thing in the world.
Right.
That birth certificate is a great thing, but you have to know how to use it. And since you don't know how to use it, you're an imbecile and you're an idiot and you're a retard and you're a minor and this is their language.
But these aren't pejoratives. These aren't, when you say those things, you're not saying it in an insulting way. You're saying it with their language.
The canon laws say it just like that. Like, I'll ask you, how much money is in your birth certificate fund? You're going to say, I don't know. If I was the government agency, I'm like, well, he's an imbecile, so we have to administer over this for him. So that's why they administer over these, because they're called executor de torts. They're being false executors because the executor hasn't rose up. He's still a minor. You would be considered a minor still because you haven't accessed your minor account. You deal with this in orphans court. Pennsylvania and Maryland are only 2 states that still have orphans courts. And this all ties into this whole birth certificate thing for the schools, how the schools are, how they get control of us, because your local government, your county and your local government agencies are administering over you and your children because you're an imbecile by their language. That's canon laws 3228. If anybody wants to go review canon laws 3228, number 6 is like when you read number 6, maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs, I feel like I read a horror story that thick. When I just read those 3 paragraphs, it's like a horror story. It's like, oh my God. And then I had a local judge, and I won't say names because, again, the preface is I'm lying to everybody.
Yeah, look at the camera.
I'm lying to everybody, and I'm telling everybody the truth. And this is all for entertainment purposes. Because if I say a name, most likely I'm saying the name to misdirect you, because I don't want to say real names. And if I say a real name, I'll never let you know I did. I have a ton of lawsuits going on, and I don't want to hurt people that were involved. And everybody who knows I'm going to use their name, I tell them I'm going to use their name. And if they were 6 foot tall, I say they're 6'8". If they were strong, I say they're super strong. I just want to exaggerate everything. And maybe one day I'll be able to tell the truth when the lawsuits are over, and only tell the truth. Don't have to exaggerate and do all this prefacing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'll be better, because if I'm being successful, I don't want some crazy, stupid judge or lawyer or somebody be able to mince my words and waste my time attacking me with some kind of lies or unlawful or illegal attack that just drains me of more money, because they've drained me already. They've killed me, and they know it. Well, they didn't kill me. They slowed me down, but I'm still here.
Mm-hmm.
So long as I got breath in my lungs, they're in trouble. So I'm going to keep going. And jail was the last place they should have put me, because it allowed me to sit still for 90 days and learn as much as I learned. But so if you know me, you know what to believe, you know what not to believe. If you care to know if it's true or not, go do some research. You got freaking AI, and you got so many different AIs. Go get it.
Yeah.
Go get it. Go find a law that I broke.
So let me. I just want to drag you back to to 2021. So it seemed there was a line in the sand for you with trying to force a medical product on your son.
Yeah.
And that started you with Citizens Advisory, because all of you realized like something is rotten, and we might not know specifically what it is, but we should join our intelligences and try to figure it out.
Yeah, and we did good. We moved fast, and we learned a lot of stuff, and we put a lot of pressure on a lot of schools, and it was really real political, right? So that's like some of the angle you can take it, and a lot of.
But you never intended it to be.
No, you don't mean to, right? Because you don't know any other way, and we started a non-political. I think it was a 501c3, which is a non-political entity, but you couldn't help it and stuff, and. Because sure enough, the politicians would come and talk to us in a non-political way, but you know that they were gaining support because they were there for that reason. And I was more like guerrilla warfare. Like those guys were the ones standing up, putting on their uniforms, ready, aim, doing that. And I'm like, nah, I said, I got to get in the mud. I got to see what they're doing. I got to get into their books. So I start studying the laws that I thought that were protecting them. Then I got to make myself bulletproof and make myself lawsuit proof, because I couldn't afford one lawsuit against me, nor could I afford to do a lawsuit, because we even configured Citizen Advisor to be the type of entity that would raise the money, take on a few lawsuits, win them, and then spread out that victory, right? By showing other people how to use the same exact lawsuit, by erasing names, putting your name on it. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't working out as planned. We had 2 good lawsuits that we couldn't fund anymore, and they just stopped funding for whatever reason. Because I think we had 2 lawyers, and they split up, and then they had a falling out, or whoever, and then we're caught up in the middle of it. And I certainly can't afford to do the lawsuits. That's why we started Citizen Advisor, because we were going to do raffles, we were going to do platinum members and gold members, and raise all this money and use that money to fund lawsuits. And we had 2 great ones, right? But for whatever reason, it was overwhelming for everybody and everything. It didn't work out as planned. I don't know how they're doing with their lawsuits, but I'm like, they're going to run us out of money. That's the only thing I can think of. That's the only reason I'm part of a group, is because I don't have money to do a lawsuit. So form a group, do a lawsuit, win, do another one, win, do another one, and do what they do to us, which is maintenance and barratry, right? They just wear you out. Okay, they're using our own tax money against us, to wear us down.
It seems like a feature. It seems like the chess move of it for, let's say, the authorities is to try to find a way. It's just like if you're going to siege a city, cut off the line, cut off the supplies.
Yeah.
And they will find a way to cut off the money.
Kamala said it really best in one of her they had like a little ditty on her, how she said that you just legally attack people and eventually you'll wear them out.
Kamala Harris said that.
Yeah, she said the way that as an attorney general, she was saying they would just legally attack somebody and eventually just going to wear them out, you know?
They'll either run out of patience, money,
or
stress.
Both. Yep. And eventually they
jump off a bridge.
Like there's people, I give an example. When I was in the VA hospital, I had to give an example to a guy. He's saying, well, what seems to be the problem?
This is recently, right?
Yeah, he's trying to decompress me after prison. And I go, well, my problem is that, I said very specifically, I said, if you really want to know, I said, you're not a medical doctor, so you don't take a Hippocratic oath. You're not recording this session. I'm here in this room alone with you, and I don't feel safe at all. I don't trust anybody. You can literally say that I attacked you or threatened to kill you.
Or anybody.
And then you're going to call the authorities on me. And then charges are going to be brought up against me. None of this is true, by the way, but he gets to do that. And then you go into this legal system that we have, this administrative legal system, and the prosecutor is going to say, you know, Mr. Yuhas, this is a well-renowned psychiatrist. He's been in the business for 35 years, beloved by everybody, and you've just spent 90 days in prison. This isn't going to look good in front of a jury trial. You're probably going to get 6 years for attempted murder and probably $37,000 in fines. But if you want to make a plea deal of 6-month probation and pay this $200 fine, you know, we can plead out right here, right now. So what do you think everybody does?
They plead out.
And now you do is get in their system, because now you're in their system. And during that probation period, they got their thumb on you. They're holding you down.
Right.
Don't you dare have a tail laid out. Don't you dare, you know, and they just keep getting your circle. Like, how did you defend that?
It's like you're constantly under attack.
And what I want to tell you is that people have to know that in Pennsylvania, for some reason, they get to indict you on information versus a grand jury indictment. Now, it sounds scary, but really, people think you need a trial by jury. You really need an indictment by jury. A group of people are supposed to be indicting you in Pennsylvania. I know I'm not going to talk about that much because people are like, what does he mean? You just have to trust me and then go look it up for yourself. You're supposed to be indicted, not by information. Now, Pennsylvania allows it, but you can demand, like, wait a minute. No, I'm not going to do that. I didn't do that. I'm not going to settle for that. I want a grand jury indictment. Oh, Mr. Yuhas, sit down. We'll just roll right along without. I'll put you in prison and move on without you. Because I was told that in both my hearings, that if I keep talking, they're going to throw me in jail and move on without me. Because they can move on without me because that's what their administrative rules allow them to do down here, these lower courts. And when I went to the University of YCCF, which is the jail, I call it the University of YCCF because I learned so much there. Mm-hmm. Shame on them for sending me. Is that as soon as they do something that's unconstitutional, which everything they did to me was unconstitutional and unconscionable, which is critical. Like if I just knocked your arm out from underneath you and upset you, your happiness was broken, but it's not really unconscionable. So your right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness was ruined when I knocked your arm out from underneath it. But was it really a constitutional violation? You know, we're going to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. A jury's going to be like, yeah, that's stupid. They're not, the judge isn't going to even let it get in front of a jury. It's not unconscionable. Mm-hmm. I can assure you everything that's been happening to me, and this could be like a little bit of all their lawyers know it anyhow. You can never make what you did to me unconscionable. Everything you did to me was unconscionable from the very beginning. So I made myself as bulletproof as I can. Everything they did to me was unconscionable. I'm like, how did they just do that? I used to tell my wife, they can't do that. She goes, they're doing it. And then I realized the right language is they don't have the delegated authority to do it. If we put legislators in and legislators make rules, they put them on the books. So by rule, I made these rules because I hired that legislator by vote or otherwise to go make those rules. Then these rules go to the school board and says, these are the rules, your delegated rules that you're allowed to do. Nowhere inside of here does it say the school board has the right to create their own law. They don't. They did it, but they didn't have the delegated authority to do it because this is the process they're supposed to follow. So the very first thing the school ever did to me was they created their own law. They became legislators. This is school board legislation that was created years ago. It says, school board, let's see, is there any place in here that we allow a school board to make their own laws? Or are we the lawmakers? Oh, wait a minute. We're the lawmakers, not the school board. School board, you're not delegated to make laws, but they did. And I'll show you how they did it. So the pandemic drummed me up. My kids then get the shots by force from the school. If they grew up and they wanted it, they can get it by themselves. But I was going to protect them from it randomly happening to them because some grown-up wanted to. If they want it, they're going to get it themselves. If my wife or I want it, we're going to get it ourselves. No one's telling us anything.
Or forcing you.
Yeah, or forcing us. They ain't going to do it. So while I was studying how the school's doing this, a couple of people knew me and they're like, "Are you Mr. Yuhas?" Yeah. And this little old guy had a computer and he showed me where the school was missing $76 million. I'm like, and I wasn't
So you're fighting like mandates and forced vaccinations and all this shit.
And then people are bringing it up to me.
And then all these, and then what happens is because you're the only one who's fearless.
Yep. Yeah. Not afraid of anybody. Yep.
Because you're the one that isn't afraid to stand in front of the room and say you're all wrong.
Yep.
People started, and look, this is nothing against the people who brought this to you. They don't have the fearlessness that a lot of people have. They're afraid.
Right.
And they brought it to you because they sensed an injustice.
Right.
So they bring you this ledger.
Within minutes of like probably the first 2 minutes, he showed me his computer. I said, "Well, can I get a couple snapshots of that in case you don't like me?" So before he closed his computer, I snapshotted it. Right?
Yeah.
And so at least I had it captured, right? I'm always collecting evidence.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit and turns out we liked each other. And he had a CAD machine that would print
giant blueprints?
Yep, giant blueprints the size of this table, or giant accounting tables.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the size of this table. And I like my
family's in the steel business, so I'm familiar with what you're talking about.
My probation officer thinks it's like she thinks she's gaining points. She'll come in, she comes into the courtroom. "Your Honor, Mr. Yuhas keeps sending all these papers to me and blah, 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 blah." I go, "That's called due process. This what you're not giving me." So remember that this is me serving due process because I'm the government, right?
Right.
It's a government of the people, by the people, for the people. These are my servants, if you would, my public servants, my hired entities to do this work, so I can go do what I do best in the field or wherever I want to be.
Yeah.
I allow you to be in there. You step down out of private life into public service, right? So you're stepping down.
Yeah, it's not a step up.
No, it's supposed to be a step down. You have decided that I'm going to step down out of private life and go into servanthood and be a servant to these private people.
Yeah.
That's what you are, period. There's no other way around it, but we get all a little distorted because sometimes the people that decide to step down are so successful that they're the right people to step down. If I step down to become one of those, I can barely keep my house the way it is now, the way they keep legally attacking me.
Right.
I'd be ruined. So some of our friends that are able to do this have boasted themselves up because they were so successful in their private life that they can actually say, "You know what? I want to go serve my people, my friends and my family and my community better." But they still got to remember they're stepping out of private life and down into servanthood, and just be so grateful that they were able to do that.
It's a sacrifice.
Yes.
Yes.
But some of them get a little bit power hungry, and the pandemic taught them how to trained them how to be power hungry, and because if
everyone lost all their common sense,
if they get $160,000 ESSER money, man, like whoever you love the most as a politician, you don't have to say it, right? But whoever it is, he still wants to make you happy because he wants to help keep your vote and keep your friendship because you solicit a lot of people. So he wants $200 million to share in your neighborhood somehow. So, that's where they get to. They get to redistributing money, and then they're forgetting their roles, Most of them, we have to teach them, hey, while you're doing that, could you still please protect our Constitution too while you're messing around with?
So in that moment, they end up being like Jack Nicholson and like the Michael Keaton Batman, where he's just having the parade and just throwing money out, and everybody loves him. And that's alluring.
And you want that for your best politician too, because if you only let the other side have the biggest war chest, so there's the balance. But all they got to do, man, look at the size of these things.
Yeah, they're so thick.
Look at this is our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence that freaking rules the day if you let it. The very first thing all of our private people that step down in the servanthood have to do, they have to have the oath of office taken, have it on the record, record it before they can actually assume the duty as whatever commissioner.
Yeah. School director,
Anything.
Yeah.
Because the first thing they have to do is protect our rights. That's their first job, is protect our rights.
Mm-hmm.
And my commissioner, listen, men, you know me, and I've said it to you privately, and I say it now. I'm saying it publicly. I love and loved each one of you. Did you upset me a little bit? Yeah, it's okay. I forgive you. You know not what you do. And I just got lucky that I raised my kids as quickly as I can, and they're all self-reliant where I can concentrate on some of this and come join you now to help you, to nudge you, to consult you, to instruct you as the Declaration of Independence tells us to do. It tells us to consult and instruct your public officials often. If you don't, they will turn into tyrants by accident, because all they're going to do is go throw that money around.
Tyrants by accident.
Yeah, tyrants by accident, because they're just going to be going after the money. They're going to be like, well, if we give them all shots, we get $30,000 per shot. You know, they want the money.
Right.
So they're doing.
And most school districts aren't run well.
Yeah.
Most of their money comes from the state.
But my commissioners, there was only one that was opposite party of me. Now I'm not a party at all. I got rid of my
two wings of the same bird, man.
I got rid of my voters registration, because that's one of the biggest traps. We just don't know it, but it's a big trap, and I decided to get out of it. You can stay. Everybody stay in who wants to vote and be crazy. I support people, and I will throw money at them and stuff like that, but I can't register anymore. Not because of some legal, lawful reason. I just can't do it anymore. But
as a human being.
Yeah, because I know what it ultimately does. It's a trap. And because I learned it, I'm out. You guys keep doing it, and I will support the people that do it, and I will go to their rallies. I will hold them up high over my head, give them all the money I can, but I just can't sign that contract, because that's all it is, a contract, right? So I'll talk about that some other day. But for now, talking about them taking an oath to the Constitution first before they can even step foot in that office, before they can put their pen on paper and put commissioner at the end of their name, which legitimizes and qualifies that to be a thing that is true now. I said, guys, I'd like to have a copy of all your oaths of offices, right? I gave it to them on the 9th of August. And like a week.
What year is this? 2021?
Probably last year.
Okay. 2024.
Yeah, because I'm trying every avenue I can to try to get these people to move. Like, I'm not getting them to move, and I don't have money to sue them. So I'm trying to do all these little, what people call sovereign citizen things. No, it's the right thing to do.
Right.
Right. It's what you do. It's not sovereign citizen. They love calling it sovereign citizens and stuff, so it scares people away. They won't be considered a sovereign citizen.
Yeah.
But look, guys, we're all sovereign. The Bible says it. The Constitution says it. The Supreme Court says it. We're sovereign. We're not sovereign citizens. We're sovereign. Period. You just know what that means. That really pissed off the world when we got our sovereignty, because it used to be just the kings and the popes and the monarchs were the sovereigns, and all of a sudden every American's sovereign. It's like, what?
Yeah, they're treated the same way as we are.
Yeah,
these lesser people.
So trust me, we're all sovereign. We're just not. A sovereign's like a king, right? It means like a king, and then citizen is citizen, which is municipal servant. So it's a municipal servant. A citizen is a servant, and a sovereign is a king. So we are sovereigns, period. I don't go around saying it because I know it leads people into sovereign citizen. I'm just an American, quite frankly. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm an American, and a proud American. I was willing to die for my country. I left the Army to make sure I didn't die in the Army, because my dad was a Marine. So I'm like, if I'm going to die, I'm dying in the Marines. And when I was hearing about the buildup, I went in. Now my son is 4th generation Marine. So the only reason I ever did that little Army thing is because the Marines wouldn't take me when I was 17. I was drooling for a fight. So the Army said, we'll take you. I'm like, let's go, so. But luckily Musto was a Marine, and he helped me switch over. Back to my commissioners. I said, guys, I did a right to know request. Everybody go to AI, whatever AI you like. Say, please teach me how to write an official right to know request to my school board members or to my county commissioners, and get a copy of all their oaths of office. Just do it. Just for the fun. It doesn't cost nothing. It's going to tell me email it to you. It costs nothing to email it to you. And if they're going to charge you $1 for a copy, it's $1. Everybody should do it. Go to AI, have AI help you, teach you how to fill out a right to know request. Maybe it will do it for you. Do it on their form. If you don't do it on their form, if you just use an AI form, they have a right to refuse it. If you do it on their form, they can't refuse it. Do it and see what comes, just for the hell of it. It's great practice. Literally, it will speed you up by knowing you've done something. I did my commissioners. On the 9th, I asked for their right to know request for their oaths of office. They've all been in office for 4, 5, 6 years, well over a year since the election. A week later, I got them back. I'm like, what? I requested the oaths of office on the 9th. All their oaths of offices were dated the 10th. You know what that means?
They didn't take the oath of office until after your right to know request.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
And I was wondering why, when I was in the office the one day, the one comes up to me, and I won't name him. He puts his arm around me. Hey, Mr. Yuhas, your kids, boy, they look so good up there. They're fair. Their cows were beautiful. I was thinking about buying that pig, but it's just a little too pricey for me. And this is the guy that doesn't talk to me. He's opposite party to me. Yeah. So he's never been kind to me. He's said some mean stuff about me. But it's okay. And I forgive him. But I was wondering, why was he so friendly? And then the next day, I finally got a copy of it. They all had to stand in front of freaking Shirtlift, I'm sure, take the oath of office, get it jammed into the...
How did they never take the oath of office to become commissioner?
Listen, to this day, gentlemen, the cover-up is always worse than the crime. No one's going to believe me, and it's exaggeration, but it's a crime not to have your oath of office and be playing that role. Because that means every single thing. And yes, gentlemen, every single thing. And I haven't done anything about it. You know why? Because I'm amicable. I love to work things out. It's not my fault I found this. You did this, not me. Every single thing they've done, authorizing of a sewer treatment plant with their signature, null and void. Everything.
Is this just for the normies?
Mm-hmm.
Is this almost like are you familiar with the Biden auto pen thing?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the concept behind that is if you have no authority to do that,
yeah,
whatever order, whatever thing that you did is null and void.
It's null and void. Now,
regardless of where you're at.
Right. And do I want them to undo everything they signed to do? No, they can't fix it. There's no fixing it. They're all sitting in office now, praying to God that sewer treatment plant doesn't, let's say, God forbid, it was to pollute the water, and 60,000, or there's not even 60,000 people, and 6,000 people.
Yeah, but you know what rivers do? They run down.
Yeah.
They run into other towns.
So if something happens, just as an example, I'm sure Milne's built it. The sewer treatment plant's probably great. But let's say their signatures all had to approve it. By the sake of their signatures being on there, that gives them their immunity. They have the right as county commissioners. They have immunity, absolute immunity. If they sign their signature to it, right, and something happens, a river comes down and knocks it out. It was Milne's did test, everybody did test. This was all right. Their signature was perfect. All right. And their immunity was perfect. It's absolute. Because they're protected by their immunity clause in their bonds, because you take an oath and then you get a bond that protects you, gives you absolute immunity. They didn't have absolute immunity because they violated they weren't covered. So there's an honesty clause violation. There's immunity clause violation. I doubt this will do anything because they'll pray to God that another election will happen. Then they'll be fresh. I can guarantee you they'll never forget their oaths of office anymore. Yeah. That's called nudging your officials. It's good,
Yeah.
There's things that happen in the prison that caused them to put defibrillators on the wall while I was in there.
What?
They put defibrillators on their wall. They didn't have any in there.
Oh, I mean, like just in case something happened, there's defibrillators.
Yeah.
Okay. But they're in airports that they have. Yeah.
They won't. I don't need that glory, but I can assure you, I know why they're there, and they might as well put my name on them. But it's okay. You don't have to. I'll tell you the story in a little bit. So anyhow, that was fun. That's called nudging. I'm actually okay with that. I didn't press them. I didn't sue them.
You just do the right thing.
I didn't sue them.
Yeah.
I didn't sue you guys. I let you go. Please don't forget your oaths of office anymore for your own sake.
Now, people like if whomever, I don't want to say names, whoever you're talking to, right? There are people that will say, George is threatening me.
Right. Nope.
Because they don't understand, because it comes out as like, do you see what I'm saying? Where it's like it could be misconstrued. You're just like, good thing I was paying attention to you, so you didn't fall off the cliff.
Yeah. Nope.
You should be grateful that I was looking out for you.
I think by now most of them get it, because I tell them privately, there's nobody better to fix this shit with, because when you guys age out or you get sick and you leave the planet or leave the job, and we get some young, stupid person in here who doesn't do the right thing, it's going to take years to fix this. So I asked them, please, commissioners, fix this with me. Even my solicitor, I love my solicitor. I didn't know he was opposite party of me until a couple of years ago.
Does it really matter, though?
Yeah, isn't it nice that I didn't know?
Yeah, it's great that you didn't know.
Right, so that just means how much I loved him and his ethic and stuff, and his work ethic outside of there with the Kiwanis and other stuff. But we really need to fix this before, because I think we did get like a stranger into Wyoming County, a new judge that came out of Luzerne County that said she was a Wyoming Countyan or whatever, and she's up there being a judge. And maybe it's all right. I don't know. I think she's in our party too. She switched to get in there. But that's how it happens, gentlemen. That's how it happens. Before you know it, you lost the election. All of a sudden we get some ramrod in there and he's not doing the right thing. So help us do the right thing. Make sure we're
kind of going through that with our mayor here, because
just do the right
they're
thing.
not from here.
So let's do the right thing. Let the people be part of the government, because we are the government and we're there to nudge, and delegated authority is the language that I use, because my wife, of all people, who's, she's the one who said, George, you got to go do something. And now I haven't stopped. And now she hates that I say that, because she's like, I didn't tell you to keep going, So
yeah, but once the person who's your heart and soul tells you to do a thing, you can't.
I can't look away from trouble. And that's like, if I don't want to have my rights violated, I have to stay home. And that's the only way. If I go to the courthouse,
you're basically a prisoner.
I'm going to go to the courthouse tomorrow and to get some things that I need, right?
Yeah.
My rights are going to be violated. Promise you. I'm going to be able to sue somebody tomorrow, but I can't, because I got so much going on. I don't know what to do. There's like this movie out there where this little kid says, I see dead people.
Yeah. Sixth Sense.
Right. Well, I see people violating my rights all the time, and it's not maybe, and they're egregious, right? So it has to be unconscionable for a federal judge to want to put it in front of a federal jury. And we can't be scared of that, because that's just down in Scranton. Or wait, I'm in Scranton. Wait, where am I at?
Yeah, you're in Scranton.
So
Earth.
Yeah, no. I love where I live.
America.
I love where I live, because when I go into my driveway, my wife has to say left, right, because I don't know where I'm going, because I just love staying in my little town. And where's Mark you live?
Yeah.
So thank God for GPS. Yeah, I swear to God. And my wife claims I have PTSD on that, but it's just so perfect not knowing where you're going, because it just means you're happy where you're at.
It also means that, like, you're probably like in your head, which is the First Amendment. No one can tell you what to think or feel or do. It's true. It's true. I think that's why I became such an advocate for the First Amendment stuff, because I'm like, no one has the right to tell you what to think.
First Amendment is literally, think about it, it's more powerful than the Second Amendment that has the gunpowder and the guns. It's so powerful.
I agree.
And I think, and go do your research, and I would love to have some people like build this with me. I think it's the right of conscience is the biggest one. I love the freedom from religion and of religion, meaning you can, if you want to worship that bottle, I can't stop you.
Mm-hmm.
But don't you dare make me worship that bottle.
Right.
That's fine. And that'll always be a nice, perfect little back and forth. But the right of conscience, so the people who haven't come to an age of understanding where they accept the Lord and Savior as their saving grace, and they're not there yet, and they kind of are in the crystal still, or witching, or whatever they want to be. Who cares? Like the Shakers were beautiful for that. The Shakers, the city of brotherly love, the Quakers and the Shakers, the Quakers were like, okay, these people will find Jesus at their own time, right? We can't force it on them. So
is that William Penn?
Yep.
Yeah.
They'll find it at their own time, and they're the ones who helped decentralize Pennsylvania. so that, the Latinos would be here, the Chinese would be here, the Polish would be here. You got Browntown, you got all these towns that were basically mimicking their little country, and nobody can have a big swath and say you're all going to speak Japanese. No, it's like everybody do your own thing, and your religion, do your own religion. You can go cut off chickens' heads, you can do incense, whatever, just do it. They were okay with that because they knew that people would eventually come to an age of understanding of one greater being, however they got to it. And if they didn't, then so be it, but they weren't going to force nothing on anybody. They had a right of conscience.
Mm-hmm.
And the right of conscience is more powerful than if the First Amendment's the most powerful thing, your right of conscience is the biggest one, because that's where people come and indoctrinate your kid. Because if your doctrine says, I don't like this, our family don't believe in that, that's your personal doctrine, and no one gets to tell you. That's your right of conscience to believe. If you're going to go into the boy-girl thing, it's your right of conscience to say, there's no third one. Don't you dare tell me anything other. You can't make me believe it. It's my right of conscience. And anybody who keeps doing this and trying to change your kid's right of conscience in school means they're messing with your doctrine. They're indoctrinating your kid to believe something other than your family's right of conscience.
Right.
So that's where the violation comes, the constitutional violation comes of the right of conscience. You have a right of conscience to say, no, I don't care if that's what you say I have to do in order to be employed here. I don't believe in it. If you make me, you're indoctrinating me against my doctrine, which is my right of conscience to believe that's not okay.
Right.
And it could be for anything. That's just the easy one. The boy-girl thing is like the easy one. And if I offend somebody, I really don't care.
Yeah, but that's like, it's like,
because
I'm way beyond. I'm way beyond this.
And here's why I don't care. Because if you believe there's a third, fourth, fifth, or sixth, and the people that are trying to stop you, I'm mad at them too. Let them go. What we all have to learn is let each be their own, because you can do that. A school should not be indoctrinating. Right? So if some mother wants to believe they're 16, let her teach that at home. Don't you dare bring those in here. If you're going to make this school compulsory, don't you dare bring any indoctrinating information into this compulsory school. You're basically doing basic stuff. Like at Tunkhannock, they're not doing the basic stuff because we're failing in like all the basic stuff. I think we're in the 30 percentile in math, reading, or arithmetic, or whatever. And if I'm wrong, prove me wrong, and I'll accept it. But anybody who wants 17 different pronouns or whatever, let them have it. Don't you dare stop them. Just don't bring it into the compulsory school system, because you're forcing me to bring by compulsory. So therefore, just keep it vanilla, please. Keep it vanilla. And if you want to, and quite frankly, if parents were so determined to teach their kids this thing, like I want to teach my kids how to can. Or don't teach kids how to can anymore. And if other kids said, don't you dare bring that in our school and teach kids how to can. They don't need to. They can just go down to the vending machine and get what they want. Okay. I won't do that. Then don't you do this either. How about we just stick to the basics, the compulsory basics, like the Amish do. Like they go to
teach them how to read, teach them how to write.
8th grade and get the hell out. Go get it done, But people are exploiting our school systems and, to get money, to get political points and all this or whatever.
And to somehow, I don't know what else you would call what's happening in schools besides indoctrination.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's not just the trans issue.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things where and look, my mom was a teacher.
Yeah.
Many of my friends are teachers.
It only takes 0.5% of the parents to literally say, to stick to this gun too, and to sue the school when they start indoctrinating. I don't want you literally send it in advance. One, you're going to say, I withdraw, I remove myself from the parentis in loco. I don't agree with it. It was fraudulently adhered to. We are now out of it. And you write it in a conditional acceptance way saying, I'm no longer in parentis in loco with you. I will do all of the raising of my children, decision-making. You're going to give them the compulsory education of X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Anything outside of that, if you do anything outside of that, you are agreeing that you are harming me, and the fine is going to be this, or the fault is going to be this. And if you don't send this back and rebut this point by point, then you accept this as fact. they don't never send it back to you because they can't, right? So by not sending it back to you, it's conditional acceptance.
Right.
That's done. So then when they do violate it and they indoctrinate, you have to collect the evidence and be willing to take them to court. Most people can't afford to take people to court. So now they're like, well, what do? I can't afford $7,000 to initiate this, or the $17,000 is going to take to finish it, and whatever, just let them indoctrinate. No one's able to finish it. I was in a position where I was trying to learn how to finish it without these attorneys. Not that I was trying to be an attorney, because I'm not proud for anybody. I was never trying to be an attorney. It wasn't like I got to go be an attorney. I don't want one, because like I know what they're doing. And you can't be, I'm not proud of that. And some attorneys, I have someone close to me who doesn't understand some of the stuff that I know, and they're attorneys because they can't know it all. I mean, one of my best friends was a Democratic attorney, and he has a room full of law books, and I got that.
Right.
You know, and the stuff I do know, the law I do know is like really isolated stuff. So I'm not really smart. I'm just focused, right? And I'm not even that focused because you have to bring me in once in a while. But okay. So I thought I made myself bulletproof. I grafted a school. I found the money. I wanted to learn how to
75 million.
76 million. I wanted to redress my government and see if it works. Right. So I went to I won't be afraid of doing this. I went to my Democratic DA, Jeff Mitchell. I said, Jeff Mitchell, my school has violated these laws that they're bound to enforce. He took it, said no merit, gave it back to me. I'm like, what do you mean no merit? I gave you perfect evidence. Like, what didn't I do right? I'm not an attorney, so I probably didn't dot an I or cross a T or something. Who knows what went wrong? Or it was so close to election season. How does one public official hold another public official to account without it jeopardizing an election? Right.
Right.
So I think it was that. So then I'm like, okay, well, that's going to suck. And I liked him, still like him. He was Kiwanian with us. So then when Joe Peters became a candidate of the opposite party, the party that I was a part of and that I was supporting at the time, and I would still support to this day because they're the most constitutionally bound one. You know, that's the only thing that really gets my attention is who's ever closest to being a constitutionalist, you know?
Right.
They all still have their ups and downs, but who's ever, what tips the scale for me, who's constitutionally bound, you know? And they tend to be. So then I'm like, Joe Peters, same copy. I need you to do this. This is what the school is doing. They're violating these laws. Gives it back to me. No merit. Shit. What am I doing wrong? So I petitioned, because remember, the First Amendment allows you to petition, to address, and remonstrance your government. Those are ways that you redress your government, through petition, address, and remonstrance. That's 3 parts.
What's remonstrance, real quick?
So I'm going to get to it. So
okay.
What I just did was I petitioned the courts to go take care of this for me. You would think that's the right thing to do. They got the money. They got the taxpayer money. If they looked at it hard, it was all facts. I didn't make nothing up. So they should have run it. But I didn't know how to push them. I do know how to push them now. So they did that. I'm like, shit. I'll say. So I sued the school basically through the mail. I start sending private civil lawsuits to them saying, you have to answer me this.
As you.
Yes. So now I'm addressing them to their address. That's what address means in the Constitution. It means you're addressing that party directly.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean you're addressing them like this.
Right.
Because when you do this is called remonstrance.
Okay.
It's a peaceful protest.
Okay.
I really don't like the way that you're wearing your hat. You should really have that rolled up a little bit. This is a peaceful protest. I'm not knocking it off your head.
Right.
You know, that would not be peaceful. I'm not going and burning dog shit on your front porch because you wear your hat silly. That would not be. There's a right place, right time, right manner theory.
Right.
You know, that's a good theory. Okay. It's a doctrine, right place, right time, right manner. So I did the right place, right time, right manner for petition. Didn't work. I was doing it through the mail, not responding. So I'm like, I'm just going to publicly bring it out there, put it in the public so more people know, and maybe the sparrows would come in and help, right? Because there's a lot of crazy going on. And everybody who hears this that is near or around Tunkhannock, go find the $76 million. They still haven't answered me. And I need money to sue them to make them tell me, because they have a policy that says they don't have to answer my questions, if you can imagine that. And they do have one that says that. But no policy can supersede the Constitution. Now I know how to stop them because you go to federal court. But anyway, so now it's October 2022. I got myself bulletproof. I got myself lawsuit.
Now, when you say bulletproof, just like real quick, what does that mean?
So I had to go up there and had to declare my status. Some schools make you sign a document saying, if you want to speak, you have to sign a document.
Mm-hmm.
If you get it, mail it to Marky so I can get a copy of him. I'd love to see him. What you're doing is you're going into contract and becoming a resident, a taxpayer, a parent, or a guardian. You're becoming a fiction, part of a contract to the fiction of that school district. And you two are in agreement that you're going to follow all these school policies that you haven't read. You haven't read them all. You don't know them all. But the reality of it is, by signing that document, it's compulsory speech. In order to speak, you have to sign it. So they already violated your First Amendment right by
because it's compelled speech.
Compelled speech. You don't know how to stop it. You sign to it because remember, our Constitution is great. This is beautiful. It allows you to contract with your government, which you did by signing it. And it also allows you to uncontract with your government if you want to. I uncontracted. So when I went there and I made myself bulletproof by saying, hey, I ain't signing that. I'm here as one of the people of Wyoming County. So immediately my status is corrected. Because like the status was, by signing this, my status was, I'm beneath you. I'm beneath you, school board. God blows the breath into our nose and made man, right? Made the people. The people made the Constitution. The Constitution made the three parts of the government. And then we allowed them to have all the rules, statutes, and codes to govern their entities,
Mm-hmm.
And they did. So then they offered the people to come down underneath and pick the low-lying fruit, right? The fruit from the poisonous tree. And then all of a sudden, I'm compelled to follow them because I said I would, until you know that you don't have to. So then you say, I'm not signing that and I'm going to speak.
So Jamie Walsh was up here
Mm-hmm.
maybe like a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing a podcast. And he goes, what are you doing after this? I said, honestly, I'm going to a school board meeting because they're doing something. And there was a big developer around here that was going to go. He was really pissed off about something. And we went down. And Jamie's like, well, I'll go to school board meeting with you. And I'm like, why? He goes, because I love school board meetings. And I was like, okay. So he goes and he's like, well, he looked at their agenda and he goes, I'm going to speak. They can't do this. This is illegal.
Yeah.
Right? And I said, they're not going to let you speak. He goes, watch me.
Mm-hmm.
And he went up there and he goes, Jamie Walsh, I think it's Sweet Valley or whatever. And they're like, you're not a resident. You can't speak here. And then he says all this stuff. And the solicitor looks at the whole board and is like, he's right. He can speak.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm sitting with this guy in the back and he looks at me and he goes, how the fuck did he just do that? And it was because he knew how to do it.
Oh, yeah. It was fun learning, like we were getting our legs together. So we did that a few times where I got away with something at his meeting. He got away with something at my meeting one time, and we all start growing our legs. And honestly, it takes a little bit of research. And with AI now, I'm not going to lay everything on AI, but AI is pretty quick. You can get sped up pretty quick,
Yeah.
Google was good, and because if I didn't have the internet or Google or AI,
no one's looking to suppress this information right now.
Yeah.
Until they are.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say real quick that like, regardless of what everybody thinks the rules are, I've seen it work.
Oh yeah. And then, okay, forget about AI. I don't care. No AI. I'm going to unplug everything, smash my computer. Look what I got.
Yeah.
Can't take this away from me. Well, you come try. I'm going to be pretty hard. It's going to be hard to get it from me. And if you take it from me, I'll go get more because our senators and our representatives, they have boxes of these, so
right.
You're never going to get every one of them.
So you started,
Oh, so I was bulletproof.
Bulletproof. Yeah.
So I basically changed if you go to the October 28th Tunkhannock Area School District, October 2022 Tunkhannock Area School Board meeting, watch what I did. Record.
This is how we get into this shit, right?
Yeah. Record what I did. Okay. Because it worked, freaked them out. It protected me for over 2 years until some dumb cop. Oh, he's not dumb. I'm sorry, Mr. Michael.
Don't say his name.
Michael. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're not dumb. You just don't know what you're doing. So I said, my name is George Yuhas. I'm here as sui juris, right? Not pro se, no sui juris.
This is 2 years later?
Yeah. No,
okay.
this is 2022.
Okay.
I said, I'm here to redress my government as one of the people of Wyoming County, standing firmly on my Constitution and very specifically the Bill of Rights. I'm here to let you know that the Constitution binds you to do the right thing. Mr. Yuhas, your 2 minutes are up. And I said, excuse me. I said, I just have 4 pages to read in the record. And they have a policy that says you can only speak for 2 minutes or 4 minutes or whatever it is.
That's obscene.
And I said, wait a minute. I said, guys, does the Constitution say you can redress your government, but only for 4 minutes? No, it doesn't say it. Now, I am telling you that I have decorum because I have 4 pages to read into the record. Now, they know what I want to read into the record because I've been addressing them. So they kind of know what I'm after, and they don't want this on YouTube. They don't want this to be part of the record, the public record.
Now, how do you know that they don't want this?
Because they know that I was trying to get them arrested for this, right? Which I wasn't sure if I could, but I'm like, let's arrest them because they're violating these laws, and they're really a civil matter, not a criminal matter. They're going to say that's constantly what the police will say. These are civil matters, until they throw like a chair at my head, that's criminal. Or I throw a chair at their head, then that's criminal. But if we're just, toucheing about these rules and policies, that's a civil matter, they're saying. Okay. So, they don't want me to speak. So like, Mr. Yuhas, your time is up, right? And my time was up according to them, but I didn't agree to those terms and conditions.
Right, you didn't sign the paper.
Those terms and conditions belong to, they have the list. It'll say like a resident, a representative, a taxpayer, a shareholder. They have all these fictions they name because they want to give you that title so that you're beneath them. You're agreeing to follow these 900 rules. So by being
that even the school board doesn't even know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. So I was basically, I basically fixed my status right in front of them. My status standing and my remedy was changed the minute I spoke the way I spoke. Really, the commissioner was the only one, or not the commissioner, the solicitor knew. He's like, well, go out in the hallway and remonstrance us, go remonstrance in the hallway. And I didn't speak back to him, but I let him go. And I remember saying, Holly, I said, do you, what gives you the right to stop me from redressing you from the Constitution? She says, we have policies. That was like, that's a perfect rendition of what they think. They think their policies can supersede
law,
but it can't. No, supersede the Constitution.
Yeah.
But it can't. It did because I didn't properly reject and rebut it that night because I'm smarter. The year that I got 2 million views, like in 24 hours, on all the videos, because there was a bunch of other ones too, that there was one that went to 1 point something, but altogether, it was very lame because I only knew half of the stuff, and the half I did know, I only spoke intelligently about a quarter of that, but now I look back at my old self and I'm laughing at that. So if you were any part of that process 2 years ago where you were attracted to my video, know that I have a comeback tour coming on and I can feel it. Like, this is the worst thing they could have done. So,
I want to work my way up to jail.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to try to speed that up for my friends.
But the thing that you just said, where they said your 2 minutes, was that your first infraction against them? So, like, what did they do?
Yeah. So what they said was they actually went into recess, which was illegal.
So wait, let me get this straight. So you're up there trying
I'm at
to
the podium, just like this.
And then they go, we're calling a recess.
They shut the mic off.
Yeah.
So now I have to talk over and I got to talk into their video. So I never yelled or nothing. I just had to raise my voice because they shut my mic off.
Right.
So I never raised my voice in anger. I just made sure I can project because I can still hear that was going on to YouTube, right? So they shut everything off and somebody was yelling like, turn that back on, turn YouTube back on. We want to hear what's going on. And they had the right to do it. Then no one had the right to shut that meeting down. They didn't have a right to go into recess and come out and not tell us what the executive meeting was for. And they didn't do that.
That's a sunshine violation, right?
Oh yeah, all day long, right? They were doing it. And they were expecting to be away from the podium when they came out. But I was staying at the podium because I know
you never left.
There's a rule that says he who leaves the battlefield first loses. So it's a way of how you engage your government. It's It's the old-fashioned way, and it really still stands. Marky, you owe me $1,000. And I have 2 million viewers that are about to witness that you owe me $2,000. You have to reject and rebut that, or you owe me $2,000. So you would, if I say, Marky, you owe me $2,000, you would respond,
I do not.
You would say, no, I do not. Right? So no is your rejection. I do not is your rebuttal. It sounds too basic, but it is. That's exactly what you do. So I told them I had a right to be there. I had the right to remonstrate them with this redress. They came back and I was still there. Mr. Yuhas, would you please sit down, or we're going to have to ask you to please leave. They didn't say call the police. They know that I had a right to be there. So it was the funniest thing to listen to them. We're going to ask you again really hard this time to please sit down. Not sit down, or the police are going to come get you, because the chief is right back there. Right? He's right back there. No one's coming for me. I'm like, guys, I have a right to be here. I have a right to redress you. I'm remonstrating you. This is how we're going to deal with this. Remonstrance is a peaceful protest. And that's what's happening. I want to know where the 76 million, I never got to tell them, read the paper. I was just teaching them, if you would, I was nudging them, trying to teach them what they had to do. But the solicitor is more powerful than me. See, they fear the solicitor because
the school directors.
Yeah, the school board and the school administration fears the solicitor. Solicitor is really the linchpin in a lot of stuff, not just ours, but anybody's, because they can scare. And we've had hot mics where school board members like, I don't know how you're voting, but I don't want to lose my house, and it's on a hot mic. So that's because they just got scared in that executive session that if you don't do this, the school board association is going to sue you, or the Pennsylvania school district, or the federal educational department, or Pennsylvania educational department.
Yeah.
Someone's going to sue somebody if you don't do something, right?
Yeah.
So eventually they scare our untrained, unwilling to protect our kid school board members making stupid decisions. So
I think the solicitors have way too much power.
They do. Yeah, there's always, right? Your solicitors and your
because they're look, it's an incentive thing, right? It has nothing to do with whether or not they're good people or bad people, right? Mm-hmm. It's like when the incentives align, they're going to nudge, they're going to be biased towards the incentive, right? And a lot of people don't understand, the school directors, I think, don't understand their rights either.
Yeah. That
they don't understand what their oath of, like, it doesn't say oath to the solicitor.
No. So here's the problem. So the solicitor, like our solicitor, and if I get any of it wrong.
He was, if I'm not mistaken, your solicitor was the Scranton School District solicitor.
Yeah. If I get any of this wrong, who cares? Go do the research, tell me where I'm wrong, and then maybe you're going to find out worse about him. But the way I remember it is he was a solicitor for us, a solicitor for the school board association, a solicitor for the teachers union, a solicitor for he worked for, in some capacity, for our school board association, teachers union, the Pennsylvania Department of Education, blah 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 blah. They're all, he's like, works for all of them.
The tentacles are everywhere.
Yeah, and like, no, he shouldn't be doing this, right? And the most basic thing is when you become a school board member, right? You took an oath to protect this. All of the administrators and the solicitors are the ones who are supposed to be dealing with all this law. Mm-hmm. You let them deal with that law, right? You want to know some of that, but you also want to teach them about this. But what happens, because you and I, the parents or the people of the county, we don't go in and hold our county, our school board members to this, because it would take 45 years for the average man who can read at an average rate to read all of the statutes, codes, and laws and procedures that are on the books. 45 straight years of reading, right? And we have to respect that, because there are kids who need learning headphones and they need their chicken nuggets at 30 degrees less than the other kid because they got a sensory problem and they need the lights dimmed down. And everybody's a little different. So you do have to make all these laws to protect that. And yes, let's have them, right? Let's have them. But let's not forget about the most basic thing. And if you're trying to give my kid cold chicken nuggets that could have salmonella in it or something, and I want it to be at higher temperature, don't indoctrinate me and my kid thinking we have to eat raw chicken. If that family's okay with it, it's on them.
Right.
But don't violate my rights to not have my kid get sick. So We have to start here. And our school board should be saying more like, hey, school administration, our kids don't like that kind of porridge here, and don't shove it down our throat. They have a right to have the porridge that they want. But what happens, none of us show up. There's times I'm the only person at a school board meeting. So because no one's there to give leadership.
How many kids are in that school district?
It's probably 900, and there's like 28,000 people in Wyoming County.
And you're the only
There's
person.
times. Now they're going to tell you there's more people, but it's like their staff.
Yeah, it's always
sometimes.
like there's administrative people there.
And don't get me wrong, it's rare to have one person there, but it's been that way. It's very rare to have more than 2 speakers, right? Because they scare them away. Think about how scary it must be now
that they put you in jail.
Oh yeah, they've really toned down the redress, right? But don't get me wrong, you're in big trouble soon, right? It's I promise you, because like, as long as there's breath in my lungs, this is not over, right? And I just get better with time, right?
So that night you spoke.
They eventually shut the meeting down because I wouldn't leave the podium.
So did they adjourn the meeting?
They adjourned the meeting and just left, right? And basically shut it down. And a couple of days later, here's where it happened. They sent me an administrative order, which they used substantive language that I was disorderly. It wasn't the police saying I was disorderly. It wasn't a judge saying I was disorderly. It was them saying I was disorderly and that I was trespassed. And they gave me a half trespass is what I would call it.
A half trespass?
Yes.
You can half trespass?
Well, only if you have legislative power to vote that into a session to make a new law. So you have to be legislators to create a law that says you can half trespass somebody.
Is there a half trespass law in the state of Pennsylvania?
Well, yeah, Tunkhannock Area School District created it for us.
Are they legislators?
No.
So there is no half trespass law.
Oh, you're right. Oh, but let's say they were. Let's say they had the power. What they said was, Mr. Yuhas, you can go anywhere else on this property that your children, and I only go where my children are. I don't like go in the broom closet.
Right.
Wherever my kids are, I go.
Yeah. Or you're sitting in the gym eating your sandwiches for no reason. Yeah.
So they said, you can go anywhere your kids are, but you can't come to the school board meeting. I'm like, guys.
This is what happens after they adjourn the meeting. So there's no other meetings in between.
On the 20th of October, I got that landed on my doorstep, right? Oh, you can't do this. So I crossed it out, right? And I said, I don't agree to these terms and conditions because, one, you don't have the power to write this and you're just trying to contract with me. Because if I didn't reject and rebut it, say, no, I will not, then it's acquiescence, right? It's called tacit agreement. So,
right.
And that's the way they do business. We have to start doing the same thing. We have to start having conditional acceptance, conditional acceptance, conditional acceptance. Everything you do. If you want your kid to be educated a certain way, you write a contract in a way that says, I want my kid educated this way. It's my right. It's my privilege. It's the way it will happen. And you agree to do it by acquiescence. If you don't, mail this back to me and tell me why I can't have these things.
You have X amount of days to do that.
Yeah, and you have X amount of days. And then you give them 3 letters, which basically sets them up for what they call a summary judgment transcript. It's a judicial transcript. So when you bring it in front of a judge eventually, it's like, guys, they gave you 3 chances to rebut this. You did, and you accepted this. So now what? So it puts you in a better position.
So they half trespass you
from the school board.
From the school board meetings for citing what?
I was disorderly. So redressing my government was disorderly. I didn't throw anything at their heads.
The meeting's online. I've seen it.
Meetings online. I didn't throw a chair and hit Holly Arnold in the head or nothing like that. And I didn't even raise my voice other than to project and nothing else. Just nothing else. That was it. It was literally it. So then I said, you can't do that. So I basically started civilly suing them, saying, guys, I don't agree with these terms and conditions. Quite frankly, if you can't prove with verifiable evidence of a witness that's been harmed or a victim or something that I've done wrong, and in fact, you're the only one who's done something wrong, and therefore I'm going to sue you for this much if you don't undo this, right? They didn't send it back. And I keep going, right? I'm trying to leave it alone because I want to get all 3 of my letters. And so I don't want to get any of my police friends in trouble or any of the SROs in trouble and put them in a pickle where they have to respond. I just want to get my first 3 letters settled. So on school board night, right? On a Thursday night, I think it was, you can go this way to go to—
Is this a month later?
Yeah. It was a month. So where you can go to the school board this way, I start leaning in the hallway. And then I went to the basketball game instead just to kind of mess with them, you know? So, and there's a bathroom down there too. So there was one time I went to the bathroom and the SROs are kind of walking with me. Like,
I mean, you're going to your kid's school and they're watching you.
Oh yeah. It's terrible. So
because you spoke at a meeting and sent 3 letters.
Right. They know I wanted to know where the $76 million was. They also know that I was after them for illegally raising taxes. And they just illegally raised taxes again while I was in jail because they know I was after them again this year because I was getting ready to ramp it back up. But I'll tell you how I got there. So, because what they're doing is they're illegally raising our taxes. Prove it all day long. I'll prove it all day long. But the problem is you have to get it into a court because I can just prove it to them. Okay, so what? They get away with it because no one says anything.
Yeah.
Like they're only supposed to be raising our taxes to like 25 mils. We're at 82 mils in Tunkhannock. So if I'm wrong, someone show me how. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong website. You know, you can go to our website sometimes it doesn't refresh and doesn't fix itself.
Yeah.
The one I look at says 82 mils, and you're not supposed to have our taxes up over 25 mils without a referendum.
Or the people voting on it.
Yeah, referendum with people voting on it or a judge's permission. And I don't see where that's happening, but there's a lot of other stuff about that. So they knew I was after him for taxation without representation and missing money, right?
Was this money from the Esser money?
No. Well, I can't prove that because they're not showing me what it is. I can see where they take money and they transfer money over for, let's say, the paying mortgages and stuff, principal and interest. And when it gets here, the principal gets paid, but the interest money just like, where did they go? You can't see where it just literally disappears.
Have you had a forensic accountant look at this?
Yes, and that's where we're at. But here's the thing: they have an audit they do. The first page says Tunkhannock Area School District Audit 2024-25. First page says this is not an audit. Next page says, "Oh my God." Next page says nothing in this audit can be construed. Nothing in this document can be construed as good practice. And this is that company who's doing it, trying to protect themselves, right? The school puts a cover on it. It's basically they give them all the numbers and they just make pie charts and line drafts and this makes.
So basically, here's the information, graphic design it.
Yeah, it's like a Wunzler machine just to make it look pretty. You know, it's kind of like putting lipstick on a pig.
Yeah.
That's all they do. They don't show like any of the stuff that went wrong. It took our forensic auditor to find it. Now, what I'd like to do is I brought it to some of our people, right? Our politicians, and I won't name them right now. I'll give you a while to think about this. And I officially brought it to them, documented. And and you know who you are. And you said to me, what do you want me to do? Go check their books? Like, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Because if you don't, I do. I put myself at risk of being legally attacked and get thrown in jail while you're not even attempting, and you have people that will be better than us. That's why we elect you, because we're expecting you to do this. And I expect you to do this.
So you have a claim, and your claim basically is you feel confident in your claim.
I have no claim.
Okay,
I have only facts.
Okay, so
it's their books. You're going to go to their books. It's not even our calculation.
So your argument. So you're. I'm trying to use the right words here.
Yes, sir.
So you're giving them an opportunity to say that you're wrong and prove it.
Yeah.
But no one's doing that.
Yeah. I want to know. It's okay. So here's the thing. I said it's unaccounted for, right? It's
so you never said, you're not saying it's stolen.
I don't know if
you're
they
not
got
saying
bass boats and they got big cigars, none of that.
Or you don't know if somebody put it in some account that no one knows of that's totally disappeared.
I want representation. Show me where it's at. Because a year earlier, after we found ours, after the FBI found 10 schools in Pennsylvania that had large slush funds somewhere, but yet they were still raising taxes on the taxpayers. And remember that when in the Pennsylvania Department of Investigation?
No.
So it was like, what is it? Not the FBI, but the PF. What is it called? Pennsylvania.
The state police?
No. So we have the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Pennsylvania Bureau of Investigation. So it was like, they found that there was like 10 schools that had, and they could have found more probably, but they just highlighted them, showed them, they got in trouble. So if you Google
Hope is everyone pays attention and stops messing around.
Yeah. And we're going to probably be one of them because I can't figure out, because like, I'm going to be bold and tell you that we can show you where they overcharged us $160 million. Now this is starting from 2006 till today. Okay. So it's it's a period of time. So from 2006 is when our research starts, and we had 5 different entities research it to make sure we're not crazy.
Right.
And it's not our calculations, it's their calculations, their books. So we can show where they overcharged us $160 million and we're missing $76 million just unaccounted for, right? So just show us where it's at.
Is that like $250 million?
Yeah. Could you imagine in a 28,000 person county if we actually can use insurance like bonds and stuff to get that money back and put it in an account, and every man and woman, what will they get at a 5% or 3% interest rate return? You know, if they created fraud somehow, and if they had bad fiduciary practices, and they have bonds that protects them against fiduciary bad practices, which that would be one of them. This is not an audit. Wait a minute, audit, not an audit, not an audit. It's like, what? It's written in there just like that. So we'll figure it out. Hopefully stuff like this gets more people involved, wants to poke around. Instead of poking fun at Yuhas being crazy guy or something like that, no, just go look, do some work, you know? And if you're so busy that you can't, I'm sorry. Somehow I got lucky to live a meek lifestyle where I have friends who won't even show their face around this work, but they'll support me and fund me. Because they're afraid of like losing business. I'm not afraid of anybody. You can take everything from me and matter of fact, they've taken everything from me. I'm literally homeless now, right? And I don't want to talk about it too much, right? Because I want people to get worried, or my kids or anything. I'm okay. But I've literally lost my house, almost lost my house because they put me in jail, and it's 3 months. And you know, it takes a lot to pay a mortgage when you have a small, meek life, right? So my wife basically has dealt with, she works at the school that's attacking me, and I'm, if you would, responding. So we're in a war where she's trying to maintain a livelihood for us because she holds the insurance, because I've always been self-employed, you know? So the kids are gone. I can't do this work. Like if my wife watches this video, she'll be mad and upset, right? Because she's worried about what the outcome is going to be. She can't stand to hear me on the phone. She can't stand to hear me researching, listening, seeing my documents laying around. She'll pick one up and just get upset because, again, as I get closer to a victory, that means she feels like her job's more at risk, and she loves her job. She loves being an aide. She wants to be a teacher. She got her teaching thing out of, there's speak of the devil. I mean, speak of the angel.
She's a good lady.
This isn't live, is it?
She's a good lady.
Could she be listening to this live right now? Oh,
no.
What's the chances she's calling me at the same time?
Well, the universe, man.
I just hit the love you button and sent her away. But anyhow, so
he's sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Which camera? Which one's a close up?
That one.
Baby, I'm sorry. I love you. And I'm sorry. Oh God, is she calling me again? No.
I don't know.
Okay, but anyhow, so
she's a strong woman.
She is, right? And she's literally the glue, right? Because think about it. When they put me in jail, she had to take care of her work, my work, all the animals. We had gardens planted. She had to take care of all that, and the lawns and the weeds. And she had to try and figure out how we're going to do this mortgage thing, because I always have to be working in order to make everything work. The kids are leaving, right? So making life a little bit easier, but it's still a lot for one person, right? So,
totally.
So we've been separated, you know, like I don't reside at that address anymore, right? So it's still my property. She's there. We're not divorced. Separated is way different than divorce. It's just, I don't reside there. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to fix this all up. Right. But it's like, if I do any work in front of her, it'll drive her nuts to think that I just went to jail over this, but I didn't go to jail over this. They put me in jail over this. Right. So I didn't want to go. Right. They just, they stepped out of their realm. So eventually the justice outreach program for veterans came and rescued me. A friend told him that I was in. Okay,
let's get there.
Okay,
right.
Yeah,
let me go back. So we're infraction, whatever the fuck we want to call it.
Yeah. So then the school board sends me
half trespass.
I'm like, guys, I'm suing you. And eventually I got to like $21.5 million is what I'm suing them for. And the craziest thing happened. So anyway, so they do that, but then I'm thinking, okay, well, they let me go everywhere else. They won't let me go to school board meetings. So I'm going to go over to the administrative office and open up their computer because I found in the law, and everybody should know this, there's a part of the law, and I think it's 67.2 in the right to know law. And if I'm wrong, just could people get a hold of you somehow through email or something?
Usually they make a comment, but usually it's calling me a fascist. But if anybody wants to correct it, that'll be fun.
Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to go to the right to know law, and it tells you get to make an appointment. And at the end of the day, they got to make an appointment with you. They don't get a no. You go to their computer, they open their computer up, go see what you want to see. You can take pictures of the screen. You can print it off. It's your right to do that. It's in the law.
Right.
When they found out I was doing that, they're like, oh shit, we stopped him from coming to school board meetings, but now he can get to our computer. So now they literally said under oath during the trial.
Okay, wait. So we got to get to the trial.
Well, I will get there, but
okay.
During the oath, they said they had to close the loophole because the loophole was that I can get on the property. They needed to stop me from coming on the property. So they had to come up with something. Once they knew I can get into the computer, I drove on. I do it all the time. Because I'm allowed to. I drove on the school property during school hours. They say in this affidavit. And then I drove to the main parking lot, the public parking lot, and parked my vehicle at the public parking lot, exited my vehicle, went into the public vestibule, which you can go to tomorrow during school hours to get an application to work there as a janitor or to get information or to pick up your child. I went there to pick up my child because we had an appointment. So I had to check her out with the public liaison person saying, I would like to meet my daughter. She called her down and we left, got back in the vehicle, reversed, went to do what we had to do. Like an hour later, brought her back. Right. Mm-hmm. And the affidavit says, Mr. Yuhas entered this is what the probable cause affidavit sounded like. That's what I did, what I just said. But in order to get me trespassed fully, they literally had to omit stuff. So it was scary, right? And it's, even though it sounds scary, it's still legal because anybody can do it. It said, Mr. Yuhas entered the campus public roadway at 9:03 a.m. No, it's more like 11:03 a.m. Entered the public parking lot and exited his vehicle and entered the public vestibule.
Therefore, he's terrible.
That's it. That's what they trespassed me the second time fully from the school property. They trespassed me fully from the school property to the point I couldn't go anywhere, not even to my son's graduation. I was fully trespassed. Nothing. The Supreme Court law in ruling in 2023 said even absent an invitation, you can still enter public buildings and public spaces. If they trespass you and it's open to the public and they just trespass you, you still get to enter so long as you enter lawfully, remain lawfully, and exit lawfully. No donuts, no running through the grass, no kicking a window out to get into the building. Mm-hmm. So everything I did was lawful. That's a ruling. Go look it up, right? So I thought, well, I'll outsmart them. I'll get a right to know request and ask for my daughter's attendance record and show that they stopped talking. And don't tell you that I picked up my daughter, took her someplace, and brought her back. They make it seem like I was a creeper
who just stood in the vestibule like a horror movie.
Even if I was, it's not against the law.
Right.
Because a creeper can do that tomorrow. And so long as he did it lawfully, if he stayed at after and 3 o'clock it was over and he was still there at 3:01, now he's violating.
He's a trespass.
He's a trespass.
Yeah.
Right. So I said, I'd like to have a copy of my daughter's attendance record for that date. We're sorry, Mr. Yuhas, we can't give you student records. It's my daughter. They did that on purpose because it would take over 90 days to get proof. Because I have to fight that through the Office of Open Records to prove that I had the right to get those records. They were just doing this, a stonewalling tactic. So they eventually, said no to that. So
they won't give you your daughter's records
to prove that I was there, and I didn't have to.
Right.
Right. Because even what they're said in the probable cause affidavit or in the second trespass letter isn't against the law. It wasn't against the law to do any of those things they said. So here's the point that I'm going to make to this point. Yes, I stood at the podium, and yes, I am guilty of everything that school said. I am guilty of standing at that podium. I'm guilty of redressing my government. I am guilty of picking up my daughter. but none of it's against the law. I'm guilty of those things, but
Yeah.
that's not against the law.
So I'm also guilty for eating an ice cream.
Yeah.
Right.
So then I'm like, so I start suing them again. Sent all the letters. Show me where this is a violation of anybody's rights. Who's been harmed? I'm the only one being harmed. You owe me. Now I'm building up my lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
And now my son's graduation comes. Open door policy. The back 2 doors wide open. Not a guard at the door. It's Tunkhannock. This is the way we roll. Doors wide open. Cameras at the door. 99% of all people came through those doors because that's what you do. You park around the back near the cafeteria. You just walk through these doors.
Mm-hmm.
I walk in
for the graduation.
Yeah, for the graduation dinner, right? It's because he's graduating from CTE, Career Technical Institute.
Mm-hmm.
He made a wooden Model T Ford like the size of this desk. It was
That's
beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah, him and a bunch of his buddies did,
Yeah.
right? So I need to go see that. And what I do, by the way, when I'm going to the school, every time I went to the school, I go to each police department first. And I show them that, guys, hey, I'm suing the school civilly. So if they call you, don't be fooled and come do any harm. Because my intent isn't foul. It's there because I have a right to be there. And I'm civilly suing them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't let extortion happen. Because extortion says when one public official, a school board member, calls another public official, a police officer, to come do harm unlawfully against a man, that's extortion. Because it's a violation of my rights because there's nothing I'm doing wrong. So we go in, we shake hands with the principal of the CTE. We're chumming it up. We sit down, we're eating dinner. RSO guy comes over and says, Mr. Yuhas, so-and-so wants you to come meet him in the hallway. I say, I'm in the middle of a salad. He goes, yeah, but he says you got to meet him in the hallway because you can't be here. You're trespassed. I said, I'm not trespassed. You tell him to come to me. So he comes over to me, Mr. Yuhas, you've always been a gentleman. Please, you got to get up. I said, listen.
Is this in the front of everybody?
Yeah, it's in front of everybody. It's okay. Like, I don't know. I don't embarrass easier. And that's where people can say, well, if you cared for your family, you wouldn't do that. Like, what are you talking about? You go take a knee if you want. I'm not taking a knee ever.
Right.
Because I'm more embarrassed about taking a knee when I don't have to take a knee.
Right.
So I'm like, look, you know as well as I do. I just saw you at your office. I sent you the papers. I'm suing these people civilly. I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm here lawfully. If I get up and leave with you, I'm agreeing that I'm doing something wrong. So in order for me to stay in honor, which in court, it's all about who's in honor and who's in dishonor. It's really the way it is. So when you hear me saying I'm in honor, it's very important because you have to be in honor to win. Only to be in court, you both can't be in honor. Somebody's in dishonor because someone dishonorably brought you there. So somebody's in dishonor and somebody's in honor.
Right.
That's just the way it is. You can't change that. And eventually you can, whoever's in dishonor, if you don't know how to close the deal, other people can help you close the deal. And I've got there. So I'm like, look, I said, I can't stand up. I said, if you want to arrest me, you have to put your hands on me, take unlawful custodial arrest of me. I said, but I can't stand up with you. The minute you touch me, I'll rise up and I won't fight you. But that means you've taken custodial arrest of me unlawfully. And that's your decision. I said, and I can't stop you. Meanwhile, everybody's recording, by the way. Because I always anticipate this. I have people always around me recording, right? Mm-hmm. So this whole thing is recorded.
Do we have this?
I don't. I'm sorry. I'll get them all. I'll put it all together.
No, I mean,
for
like,
next time.
but you have access to it.
Oh yeah. I'll put it all together for you one day and make a nice little thing. This is just out of jail. I haven't even slept more than 10 hours in the last 5 days.
I'm not asking for it.
Yeah,
I just wanted to see if there was like
evidence
that asset
it's
somewhere.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Okay. All right.
Even them bringing the school's like video stuff in, it's so damning, right?
Right.
Because in the beginning they're saying Mr. Yuhas snuck in the back door. He avoided the what's the system they use where they scan you? They scanned your ID going in. Like a Guardian system or something. Like it's a scanner system for all the schools, and basically you run your ID through it to make sure that you're not like a sex offender or you're not a criminal. It would never register anyhow because I've never been trespassed ever. Never been trespassed by a police officer or by a judge's signature for a warrant for a trespass. Never. It's always been a school's administrative orders, just pieces of paper from an agency. Like the Chevron deference says, an agency cannot turn an administrative order into a criminal action because only legislators can do that, or a judge or a police officer can do that. Mm-hmm. Okay, but they did it. And they said the full force of law. But anyhow, so I'm eating. He says, Mr. Yuhas, please, you've always been a gentleman. I said, yes, I know. And he put his hand on me and I stood right up and I walked right out with him. Didn't put handcuffs on me, didn't read my Miranda rights. He said, I'll send you something in the mail on Monday. Okay. And it was like.
And then did you get in your car and leave?
Yeah, just put in my car and left. He arrested me on paper, right? It's kind of just like charged me on paper. There was no crime. He didn't see a crime happening. I was sitting eating a salad with your son at an open meeting to the public is not a crime. They're saying because I was giving notice by who? They're saying the agency. Well, fine, the agency can't trespass me. The agency has to solicit a police officer to come. And a police officer said, and the strangest thing I never got an answer to was he came once, left, and came back a second time, the police officer, because he's like, I can't do this because he's not doing anything wrong. And they probably kept calling him back. And he's like, oh, shit, I got to do something. So I'm just going to go arrest him. Right. Because that came out in the trial. I still never known. It's probably just for what I said. Because when he was there, he's like, you need to summon somebody on private property and we need him trespass. The police officer should say, what's he doing wrong? Because this is going to blow your mind. So watch this. So he got called back. He's like, what is he doing wrong? Like the affidavit of probable cause has to say he was throwing his salad in somebody's hair, or he was on top of the table and just throwing shit everywhere. I was eating dinner.
Yelling in someone's face.
The way he explains it is he was eating with his family peacefully. Like, yeah, I was until you came and interrupted my peace, you know?
Right.
So I entered lawfully, remained lawfully, and exit lawfully. Right. Didn't even push his arm away, or he tried to say I pushed his arm away. But the reality of it is I was going in my pocket thinking, shit, he's going to put me in jail. I'd never been to jail before. I'm like, he's going to put me in jail. So I'll make sure my wife, because sometimes I have only the money I have is in my pocket, you know, so I needed her to have it in case I was going to jail because there'd be bills to pay soon. So I gave her everything in my pocket and it didn't turn out the way I thought. He just like said, I'll get you something in the mail. I'm like, fine. And then I got summonsed in or whatever. But a year earlier, I went to the courthouse and one of the commissioners and two sheriffs threw me out of the courthouse because they say I was violating the mask policy. I'm like, guys, I'm not violating the mask policy. He doesn't have one on. He doesn't have one on. He doesn't have one on. You didn't have one on until you wanted to attack me. I said, just go upstairs and get me a copy of it.
The mask policy.
The mask policy for that specific building.
Yeah.
So, and he went up to get it. Now, remember that mask policy is really only for the people working in that building, not for the people coming in.
Yeah.
You know? Because the people working in that building do fall underneath those rules and they had to follow them. I don't have to follow them.
They have to wear suits to work, but you don't have to wear a suit to walk in.
That's right. So it's like it's their policy, not mine.
Right.
But he brought it down, but it even says very clearly, nobody has to wear one if they don't want to, if they have any type of a condition. I have a condition. I have patriotitis and I'm just not going to put a mask on.
Right.
So I don't have to explain.
Wait, is patriotitis what I think of?
Yeah. So I don't have to. And it says, and that they don't have to explain what that condition is. So you get to have a condition and not have to explain it if you don't want to.
Right.
Right. So I don't want to. I just want to wear it. It's your policy. So I watched him because they have a screen of TV cameras, and I'm watching the guy go upstairs to get his own policy, and I can see him reading it like as he's coming down the elevator and everything. He's like. Oh. He's getting mad because it says exactly what I said it said, and he forgot what he signed. And he came down and he goes, Mr. Yuhas, get out. Blah, blah, blah. And him and two sheriffs threw me out of the courthouse.
Really?
I'm like, what are you guys doing? He goes, we're going to call the police. Well, call him. I'll sit right here. So he calls the police. The police comes up and says, what are we doing here? I want him arrested. Well, hang on. Let's talk. Goes inside. So I can't arrest you because you didn't do anything wrong, but they want to trespass you. I said, but we're going to wait for the solicitor to, get a trespass letter together for you. So I'm sitting next to the chief, the same chief that was behind me at the school thing later on. And he said, the solicitor said to the chief, hey, listen, you got to let him go. We can't even trespass him. He didn't do anything wrong. The policy said this. So he didn't violate any right. He didn't commit any crimes. You know, if anything, he's been the one who's been harmed because I was physically thrown out of the courthouse.
The solicitor said this.
The solicitor said this. This is just all facts, right?
Yeah.
Nothing I'm saying is a lie. Everything that I'm saying is a fact, and it's on the record. So he said, well, you can go. But this is the same courthouse, the same DA, the same solicitor who then allowed the school to say that I've been trespassed, but I didn't commit a crime. You have to commit a crime. The maximum law says you can't convert a constitutionally protected right into a crime. And I had a right to remonstrance. So you can't convert it into a crime. Chevron deference says you can't take an administrative order. You're wearing a plaid shirt, get out of my school. That's the administrative order. You can't have an administrative order and convert that. It's called conversion. You can't convert that into a crime. Well, you don't have the delegated authority. That, like my wife says, well, they did it. I said, you're right. They don't have the delegated authority to do it. Now, if they do it, that means they've stepped outside of their roles and protections and they did something personally.
Right.
And that's where I get to get them. Because since they didn't have the authority to convert that into a crime and they did it, it's a perfect crime, unconscionable crime against me. I didn't know how to close the deal. So I'm like, I limped it along, thinking I had to civilly sue them locally. So I went to Lancaster. And wait till you hear about that. So I went to Lancaster to land this big lawsuit. Like they did it 3 times now. Like what the hell? So 21.5 million is in Lancaster. Boom, stamped. I got it. Got a copy of it. I have a copy. I'm taking it to the trial saying, look, I was civilly suing them. They brought fraud onto the court. And you, judge, took that fraud because you're trusting these people that you have hired, DAs and district attorneys. And the one guy says, this is the old law that Mr. Yuhas violated. He called it a law in the court. I have the transcript. He called the first letter the school gave me a law.
It's not.
It's an administrative order. They don't have the legislative authority to call it law, but he's in front of the jury saying, just like this theatrically, this is the old law that Mr. Yuhas violated. And here's the new law Mr. Yuhas violated. Now, before the jury came out, the judge made a deal with me.
You had a jury? Okay, wait. How do we hold on. How do we get to the jury? Right. So
okay, so anyway,
do you want to take like a quick pee and then
yeah, if you want to, sure.
Yeah. Because this is a saga.
Yeah. So eventually I got arrested. Papers come, had to go to the magistrate, eventually get to a jury trial. But yeah, let's take a pee and then we'll get caught up right there. Okay, so this is when the police officer arrested me on paper only. He didn't put handcuffs on me. Didn't let me keep going. Still good. He didn't read me my Miranda rights or none of that stuff. I've been following this recently and studying this idea that in Pennsylvania, we get indicted on information.
You said that earlier.
Yeah, and we don't know how to stop that. Did I say it on the air?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're supposed to be getting indicted by a grand jury, not just having a jury trial, but just to see if it even, remember I gave you that analogy of a guy gets to say that he threatened to punch me in the face and kill me and nobody was around. It would be hearsay, but it still gets drug into court. And while you're in court, you wind up pleading a deal of either guilty, not guilty, no contest.
Mm-hmm.
You don't plead to none of those. I've never pleaded to anything. And when I don't plead, the judge says, well, I'm going to plead not guilty for you. I'm like, objection, Your Honor. You can't do that. You're not supposed to be practicing law from the bench. You're not my representative. You can't do that. Well, it's done, Mr. Yuhas. Pretty scary shit.
Yeah.
It's called judicial supremacy is definitely alive and well in what's happening. I'm probably going to do a little research probably for, like, I love Lewis and Clark, the history of Lewis and Clark.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to start studying about how we started, if you would, being mean to our judges back in the day, because our judges were king's men and they were imposing the king's will on us long before, between the 1400s and 1700s. And there was times that we would raise up rebellions against the judges for doing this, tar and feather them and stuff like that. And what they do for judges now, like down in Monroe County, man, they got that place like a Supermax courthouse. Like that's so guarded and protected. You feel like you're like in a prison, right? Everybody. And the way the judge comes in with a door that rolls up and he goes into like a bat cave. And
wait, shut up. This seems like theatrical. This seems like a TV show.
Oh, it's yeah. I don't want to talk about Monroe County Jail, but I will one day.
All right. So let's
back to what happened to me. So we have the full trespass. Full trespass now, which they later would say they need to close the loophole because I was getting too.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah,
because I was getting too close to the money. See, that was supposed to be a one-day trial, prosecuting me, And I was there for the ride because I never agreed to be there. So as I always say, I do not agree to these proceedings. I'm not here to participate. I'm just here to notice and to object.
Mm-hmm.
Very well, Mr. Yuhas, if you misbehave, you're going to have to leave and we're going to go on without you. And that's a fact, right? They would move on if I wouldn't shut up, because remember, I try to represent myself when I'm there, because I don't trust the attorneys at all, because I know what they're doing. They're just trying to turn you over to the judge, because they turn you over to the judge. They're attorneys. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And the word client, look it up, means ward of the court. So they're turning you over to a ward of the court. So I feel like I know the case best, but I'm going to do it. But they have loopholes that I don't know that they circumvent. So I get to the magistrate. I said, I would like to challenge jurisdiction. He goes, you're here, aren't you? Now think about what he just said. I said, I object to jurisdiction. I challenge jurisdiction. I should not be here. He goes, you're here, aren't you? That means the minute you walk into their court, you are agreeing to their jurisdiction in their minds, but they're supposed to prove it on paper. But I know that now. I never made them prove it on paper. So basically, like, okay, I guess I'm here for the ride. He goes, if you don't be quiet, I'm going to hold you over until court, which means he'll put me in jail until trial, right? Until the trial date. Now I'd sit so I'm like, well, my buddy's pulling on me. He was here with me before, Dave Roberts. And he's like,
Dave's
look,
a great guy.
He's like, you could do better work on the outside. If you go to jail, it's going to be harder to build a defense against this. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, fine. So I went along for the ride. I still object every time. In order to be heard at a higher court, you have to object to everything. So you sound like a big jerk, but you just have to object to everything. Objection, Your Honor. What are you objecting to, Mr. Yuhas? It's just not my wish. That's it. That's it. That's all I can say but you have to object to everything. And it got to a point that the judge was like, objection, Your Honor. I know, objection. Right?
Right.
I object to everything, because that's all that gets heard in the next court. If you don't object to it, that means you agreed to it. So it might seem like a game, but when you don't know and you don't want an attorney, you can't afford an attorney, at minimum, object to everything. It just be as polite as you can so you can stay there, because if you're rude about it, they can put you in a cell and then they're going to move on without you. That means you can't object. So you want to try to actually, skirt that a little bit.
So you're at the magistrate doing this.
That was
for a trespass.
Right. So then the judge said, or the magistrate said, well, I see enough to move it on up. Okay, fine. So that means I get to appeal it, so I get up there and I appeal it. Anyhow, so I'm up at the court now, and my judge, Shurtleff, has to recuse himself for a couple of reasons.
He has to recuse himself from the trespass.
He has to recuse himself from presiding over anything regarding me, because he's a Marine. I'm a Marine. We've done things together. And, there's a lot of reasons. I just can't go over it.
Understand.
He has to recuse
I get
himself. And it was all personal. It wasn't like, it was personal and business, whatever. It's just, it was his choice, and it was a good choice, right? He's a good man. I appreciate him. I don't think anybody likes him as a judge. And I guess I'm happy he didn't have to deal with it, because I like him as a man. I like his family. So anyhow, a guy from Monroe County has to come up and sit over this, and he's going to sit over that case. And that's when that guy held the old law and the new law up, talking to the jury.
Was there an actual jury there?
Yeah. There's a jury. Jury got selected, and I got to indict them for 2 days though, because they would never answer. Remember, I sent them stuff through the mail. They never had to answer, but now they're under oath.
Mm-hmm.
So now I got them under oath, and I got so much on them, like, because they lied under oath, right? Or they admit it under oath, right? They admitted that the discussion was, I said, why did you show the pictures and the video of me walking into the vestibule, but you never showed me leaving with my daughter? Who knew? Well, the superintendent knew that you were getting your daughter. I said, so there's 3 of you that know, but none of you put it into the affidavit. Why did you do that? Well, we needed to close the loophole, because they were admitting that they did it to sound scary, so they can get
what they want.
They can get a conviction.
Yeah.
Right. To get me trespassed, because I'm after some pretty steep shit. $76 million, $160 million illegal tax increases. This is not basic stuff. Like, the color orange on our helmets aren't right. I'm not arguing about stupid shit.
Yeah.
We lost 10% of our population in 10 years. We haven't gained one child since 2019 in enrollment, and they're still raising our taxes. Something's wrong. Less people in the freaking, there's less people in the community.
And they make the excuse taxes. Of like inflation or costs go up or.
I almost lose my house 3 times in the time that I owned it because it's hard. You know, it's hard. Yes, I live a meek life. I prefer to be with my kids, around my kids, and give all my kids everything they possibly need, but I want to be part of it. So when you do that, it's hard to get ahead. You know, I'm not going to make excuses for it, nor am I going to apologize for it because I got great kids.
Yeah.
But now that I started this fight, it'd be nice to have some money in the bank so I can sustain this. It's hard to sustain this fight, and they know it. That's why they do it. Because Holly Arnold would tell me.
Who's that?
She was a school board president. 9 times she has said on the record, "Sue us, Mr. Yuhas. If you don't like it, sue us." Well, that's actually a violation in itself. But she knows that eventually I'm going to run out of money. Like, could they try to do it with the Citizen Advisory Group? Because I had 2 lawsuits going with them. And you can't sustain it because you run out of money, and then you're arguing about money and who's going to pay this. Well, what are you going to do? We have to find another way of doing this. Mm-hmm. So that's why I kind of went rogue, if you would, and just kind of took them on myself because I don't want to have you and me go do it and then you get in trouble. To be fair, I was going down through a minefield, and if I went this way and that way, and it's clear up to here, I can say, "Hey guys, come on, it's clear up to here. What I just did was clear." Now, did I step on a minefield? Kinda, right? But it didn't fully go off, and I'm okay, and I'll explain how. Because I mean, it didn't have the impact that they wanted, right? It was like a dud. It was like a half explosion, but there was still an explosion. So I would like to alert people, hey, it's clear up to here, but now we got to figure something else out. Well, since I had some time,
you're like one of those fucking landmine monkeys that they send across the field. And
yeah, so that was my job. And like in the Marine Corps, we would literally walk down the side of the road. We're okay with being shot at because they typically suck. Mm-hmm. And now we know where they are, right? It's called recon by, well, that's one way of reconning, right?
Yeah.
So now you identify where they're at. Another way is if you hear the bushes moving, just shoot into the bushes. If the bushes shoot back, somebody's there, you know?
Yeah.
But so I didn't do it recklessly. I thought I was pretty studied.
And you didn't want anyone to get destroyed with you.
Yeah. It's like in the Marine Corps, I never had family, right? So if I put myself at risk, I didn't have anybody to worry about versus my buddy left and right of me. And now that's their sphere of control. Doing it this way was a little scarier because if something did happen to me, my family reaps the consequences with me. And my marriage is that way, right? Where I have to be separated from my wife. I can't reside in the same address as her and stuff. Completely still married. We're not married. We go to the fair together, but I can't do this kind of work in front of her. She doesn't deserve it. You know what I'm saying? So that's been going on for a while, and I want to correct that, right? So I want to get this over with and get going, get busy, building things back up. I can tell we're gonna have a full life together, you know?
Yeah.
And but it's still something that has to be addressed. The fact that this shit has caused me homelessness, you know, where I have to, you know, not reside with my own wife because it brings controversy. The controversy they brought to me brings controversy between my wife and I because she works and she doesn't want to get fired, you know, because she sustains the insurance, which is important in today's day and age, especially as we age, you know. So I pray to God that they never fire her for some stupid reason, you know, because I'm sure I'll find some illegal activity there. So hopefully that just maintains and we'll get through this together. And hopefully the school just stops attacking me. But
right. Let you read your 4 pages.
Yeah, let me read my 4 pages. That's called decorum. Because they talk about that's not decorum. What are you talking about? It's right place, right time, right manner. I wasn't burning shit on Holly Arnold's front porch. And you know how they put a dog shit in the paper?
Yeah.
I wasn't doing that. I didn't throw a chair at her head.
Yeah.
I didn't call her a fat slob. I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
It's the right place, the right time, the right manner, you know? And don't think I enjoyed saying any of those 3 things because I didn't. I'm not that kind of guy.
So you're saying it's time and place.
It's the right time, right place, right manner is the way I did it. And it's where
this is the thing. This is the thing that people need to understand. It's like your local elected officials. Yeah, you see them at the ball games, the restaurants, everything like that. You never did that. You never approached them at the ball game. You never approached them at the restaurant.
Always use pros. Always use pros. Like I would use constables if they had to be approached. They use constables. You know. Mm-hmm. So they got me in the court to prosecute me. I indicted them for 2 days. So I have all of the testimony is on the record. I have their transcripts. I have everything. Right. So now I'm thinking, okay, but how do I close the deal? I got them. They keep violating my rights perfectly. It has to be unconscionable. Remember, guys, they have 45 years worth of consistent reading. This is what I got. And I got them because when I went to the University of WCCF, I learned that you remove, when they violate your constitutional rights, you don't stay down in these lower courts and argue that. Because I had the one judge say to me, if you keep saying that about the Constitution, I'm going to find you in contempt of the court and put you in the jail right now. How can they do that? These aren't constitutional courts. They're administrative courts. They're their courts. Shut up with your Constitution. That shit doesn't matter here.
That's crazy, George.
But no, we agreed to that. You agreed to that when you became a resident and a registered voter in their county, because you, just like P&G, you said, I want that elected board of officials to run P&G, and I want that guy to be the head of it. And you signed up for that because you voted for him, because you registered. So the judge is he's like the principal. He's like, if you and I owned a company that ran out of this warehouse that you're in right now, and you were in charge of cardboard boxes and I was in charge of wrappers or whatever, you know, and you were supposed to order boxes, but I ordered too much wrapping and therefore there was not enough money for yours and shit got screwed up for you. The shipment didn't go up because I bought too much of this and you didn't have enough. But then there'd be rules saying that you get to, you know, go report me to the boss for doing this. That's what's happening in our counties. We're having administrative arguments because we all look like employees to our administrators. We're all beneficiaries to them. They're all administering over us because we're signing up for all these contracts, which is a good deal if you know you're in these contracts, because you get to make amendments and you can say, no, I want to be at arm's reach. I want to be involved. Like the Amish, they know how to contract in with the English, but they don't get overly involved. You know, they just do their business and stay at arm's distance. You know, some of them break Amish a little bit. And just because they're wearing Amish clothes doesn't mean they're Amish. They have to be in the church to be Amish. And the people in the church know how to be more private. The people that I call them the 30-yard Amish, the 100-yard Amish, and the 300-yard Amish. If they're right up against the road, they're breaking Amish because they're dealing with the English all the way. The ones way back there who want to be away from all the English people. And everybody's considered English to the Amish because they believe in the English way of business, which is commerce, right? So anyhow, so I wind up getting a jury trial. Before the jury came out the last time, the judge says, Mr. Yuhas, we're going to have an agreement that you're not going to be doing this and not be challenging so-and-so while he's speaking to the jury. And I said, okay, well, I said, I want the same reciprocation, you know. I don't want any misrepresentation of the law either, you know. So when they came out, and his closing argument was, this is the old law Mr. Yuhas violated, and here's the new law. They were just pieces of paper, not these, but they were holding 2 administrative orders that they sent me, the half trespass and the full trespass. And I'm biting my tongue thinking, that's not the law. I'm like, what are you going to do about this, judge? Because the agreement was you wouldn't let him misrepresent the law. But I made a promise and a word of honor that I wouldn't interrupt him. So once he sent them back into sequester to come up with an answer of guilty or not guilty.
Did you get to do a closing argument?
I did it first. He went
last.
He
went afterwards.
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't get to fix that. That's brilliant, by the way. I didn't get a choice. I wish we could have flipped a coin or something. I would have picked the end.
Right.
But
so they go back to deliberate.
They go back to deliberate. And as soon as they closed that door, I said, Your Honor, what did you just do? I get to talk to him like nobody else does because I can't get disbarred. Right. And people are like, what the hell is he doing? I said, you coached them earlier. You were telling them exactly what I was doing. He said to the attorneys, you know, Mr. Yuhas is putting up a positive defense against something here. And I'm like, Your Honor, are you coaching them? Mr. Yuhas, I'm not coaching. I said, Your Honor, you're coaching them. You just told them what I'm doing. You're giving them a fair warning what they should work against tomorrow.
Right.
Right. And, and he talks to like this standby counsel saying, you explained to Mr. Yuhas the rules, probably meaning I can't challenge him like that. But I did because I could, because I'm not an attorney. An attorney couldn't have done what I just done. So then later on, when that door closed, I said, Your Honor, what did you just do? He just held those papers up and represented them as law. You know as well as I do they're not law. Well, Mr. Yuhas, it's done. We're going to let them be in sequester. Well, they break sequester. I get a call back early. They have a question for the judge. Guess what the question was?
What's that?
The juryman said, Your Honor, we have a question about those laws that Mr. Shields was holding up there and whether they're law or not. And the judge said to him, well, you're going to have to figure that out for yourself.
Holy shit.
That's not the way it works. He's supposed to tell them the facts about the law, and they're supposed to figure out the facts about the facts. He's supposed to tell them that wasn't law. Yeah. But he didn't. Told him to go back and figure out for himself.
Go back and figure out whether this is a law or not.
Wait till you get the transcript. Because, if it's not word for word what I just said, that's what he said. And the reality of it is what he should have said if he was an honorable man. But by now he's pissed at me. He just can't stand me because I'm taking shots. I'm like a truck driver and they're all being proper Englishmen. Your Honor, if it would please the judge, I would like to stand. I'm like, Judge, what did you just do? What the hell did you just do? Yeah. You just screwed my case. Yeah. You helped them. You coached them. Yeah. From the bench.
You created a bias.
Yeah. So, but you'd have to know how to do a judicial complaint. I don't know how to do that. I'm not an attorney. So he knows that. He's just slow walking me to the ovens. Yeah. He knows it. So the jury comes back, asks that question, and he said that to them. They go back. And all he had to say was, well, it's not law. It's administrative. What he should have said, should have sounded just like what Mr. Yuhas knows, and I'm not a trained attorney. Well, juryman, that's not actually law. Mr. Shields misrepresented that law, and I should have stopped him, but I didn't. And because I didn't, he misrepresented that law. Those are actually just administrative orders, have no power because that school has no ability to write legislative authority. So therefore, they shouldn't have done that. They actually violated the law, and that was treasonous what they've done. But I can't tell you that because I want Mr. Yuhas to be found guilty. So you go back there and just figure this out for yourself.
That's insane, George.
And I'm telling you, it's way too. Now I can't afford a $2,000 transcript, right? So they're winning all this stuff because I can't afford the transcripts and the legal ease, the legal funding to keep this thing rolling, So I go to sentencing, and that's when the judge says, Mr. Yuhas, you haven't even pleaded guilty to, and they found me guilty, right? Mm-hmm. All you needed was one saying not guilty. That's all you needed was one. And surely because they had a question about it, and when they found out that wasn't really law that he held up, that he breached his code of ethics or whatever, and he shouldn't have done that. Surely one was going to come back and say, well, we're going to have to say not guilty. Because what was I guilty of? Right. In order, they said it was defiant trespassing, right? So in order to get to defiant trespassing. In order to get to defiant trespassing, you have to have this crime, because I was on public property. I wasn't on private. You can throw me out of it because it's your property. Now, on a public property, they have to call the police and say, here's the crime that Mr. Yuhas just created. He did that thing. And a police officer is going to say, yes, it looks like it. Mr. Yuhas, you are now officially trespassed from this property. Like, oh, damn. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. That didn't happen. They trespassed me with no crime. They didn't call the police to come get witness statements or see the victim who was harmed.
And the police were there.
The police chief was right behind me. So there was never a crime that, because again, if I broke a pencil, it was their pencil and I broke it, they got something. Yeah. They don't even have a broken pencil. So they just trespassed me, right? And they're calling that I was noticed. Noticed of what? I'm allowed to be there. Right. You cannot be trespassed from a public property absent a crime. So then they created the half trespass. Now they created the full trespass. Again, public property, working hours, public road, public parking lot, public vestibule. Checked her out with the public liaison person, brought her back the same way. No crime. Didn't even slam the door. Didn't even yell vulgar words.
Yeah. Have a shitty day, everybody. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. And they actually omitted that I even picked my daughter up, which shows they deliberately omitted stuff for fraud. They brought fraud.
To lie by omission.
Yes, they brought fraud onto the court. Joe Peters, he allowed his office, the prosecuting office, to bring fraud upon the court. And the court allowed it too, because why not? No one knows how to stop it. Mr. Yuhas has represented himself. We got this one, boys. Yeah. So,
slam dunk.
Yep. And then again, with my son's thing, going to his dinner, there was no crime, but they slow walked me through it. I'm at the sentencing, and I said, Judge, he said, Mr. Yuhas, this all could have been a 20-year sentence. I have it reduced down to 5 years or 8 years, depending on what the prosecutors want to do. And you haven't even acknowledged your culpable or your guilt to this. I said, Your Honor, bring the guillotine in, because I'll just ask you to wait for my family to come watch. Because what am I going to do? I can't plead guilty to something I didn't do. There's no harm man or woman. There was no harm property. There's no violation of a contract. There's nothing here. There's no here. Well, you listen here, Mr. Yuhas. I said, you're not even giving me a day in jail because the Eighth Amendment won't allow you, right? And he's like,
for those that don't know what the Eighth Amendment is.
Yeah, that's going to be cruel and unusual punishment because I didn't harm nobody.
Right.
I mean, if I chop someone's hand off, put me in jail.
Yeah.
I did nothing.
Yeah.
So it's cruel and unusual punishment because there's nothing that matches up to putting you in a jail for even a day. None of those things were guilt. None of those things were a crime. It's on paper. You created crime because you allowed the jury to come back and say it was a constitutional procedure or proceeding. Therefore, the outcome was constitutional. No, you created malfeasance and misprison throughout the whole thing, and judicial supremacy ruled the day, and you got what you wanted, the jury to do what you wanted. So it looks like it's a constitutional proceeding, and therefore we're at a constitutional sentencing, right? Which I would love to say I was proud of, because that's in fact what it would have been if it wasn't done out of misprison, a malfeasance. And he says, well, you listen here. If you don't take at least a year probation, I'll put you in shackles right now. And again, I think
is the jury in the room?
No, this is sentencing.
Okay.
That the jury's already found me guilty. I'm on a sentencing now. And I said, well, Your Honor, based on the threat of arrest and immediate shackling over this matter, I will yield to probation. I would rather just pay the bill, because every time they confront me, they're going to be violating my rights, because I don't agree to these terms and conditions, but I'll yield and I'll sign your document, because that was the deal. I had to sign that document. Why do I have to sign a document?
I don't know.
It's a contract. There has to be mutual agreement. There has to be two wet signatures. Why didn't they just take me away? Why did I have to sign that document? And he would not let me leave the courtroom until I sign it. So I went in the back and I read it. I slow down. I read it. I got my red ink pen out and start crossing shit out. I don't agree to this. I don't agree to that. I'm like, no, I'm doing that. I said, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, and I reserved all my rights. So you can't turn yourself into a ward of the county and reserve your rights at the same time. You see, I have rights as a man, but by signing that contract, I would have just been signing myself over as a ward. I'm now saying I am this indentured servant to you. I'm a thing. They can't have guardianship over a man. They can only have guardianship over a fiction, a ward. So by signing that, I was making myself, if you would, a probationer. But so, yes, he made me do it under duress. So I write it under duress. I'm signing this under duress, under the threat of arrest and immediate shackling. And he even said at the end of it, take it or leave it. And when he said that, I'm like, did he just give me an out? Because anybody who wants to, go find out what it means to have a take it or leave it contract. When someone gives you a take it or leave it contract, it's void ab initio. It's void immediately. That means somebody in a superior position gave you to take it or leave it contract under threat of arrest or harm.
Yeah, that's extortion or blackmail.
He said it out loud. He didn't even kind of say it. He said, take it or leave it. And that's the way that law is read. I feel like he did it to give me an out. Like, he has to make his, because when the two DAs found out that I wasn't getting any jail time, they stormed out of the building. They didn't want to hang out to see what was going to happen.
They didn't even stick around for the sentencing?
They didn't stick around because they didn't get what they want. They wanted some meat and potatoes. They didn't want probation, right?
Right.
Yuhas deserves this.
We went through all this and all he's getting his probation.
Yeah. And only a year. So, and then it's like 30 minutes in, I'm still reading this. And he goes, where's, because he's expecting people. I watched 30 people before me go like this. And they're gone. They sign their paper like that. Dude, I'm just crashing shit out. I'm putting thumbprints. I'm sealing it. I'm putting stickers on it.
Yeah.
It's a contract. You get to be involved. Believe it or not, you get to be involved. It's a 2-person contract. You can put novations in. I'll do all this so long as you pick me up every day.
Mm-hmm.
You want me for supervisory, pick me up 8 o'clock every day. You want to be supervised. Because it's it has to be mutual agreement. It has to be mutually beneficial. So how is that contract ever been any bit mutual beneficial? So she gets it. And the judge says, is he done with this yet? I said, just a minute, Judge. I'm almost done, right? So I finally passed it up to the probation lady. And she says, Your Honor, Mr. Yuhas has crossed things out. He's put UCC 1308 and 13 PA 1308, which is commercial law, saying I reserve all my rights to a proper defense. So, that means you can defend yourself because you don't really know what you're signing. So if something comes up, you get a proper defense. If you didn't sign it like that, you agree to everything they want you to do. That's it.
Right.
That's the way it happens, is you agree to everything, right? So he says, well, can't you work with that? That's what he said to her.
To the probation girl.
Yeah. And she's like, she didn't know how to answer. She goes, yes. Right. Because like she's her boss.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He's her boss. So she never signs it.
She never signs the probation document.
She never signs it. Just me. And I did it under duress. She's afraid to sign it because I'm already suing her.
Because you wrote in there, I'm signing this under duress.
Yeah. And I'm already suing her. Like I already have a notice of liability against her for the mere fact that they're putting me through this. So she already knows who I am. I'm litigious.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been in front of her 2 times where her eyes water up. When I talk with her, they say you can't film during your probation hearings. I don't meet in their office. I meet at a neutral place. Like, I'm not coming in there, right? Mr. Yuhas, we need your picture. I said, you're not getting my picture. Unless you're going to pay me, you're not getting my picture. Like, I completely control everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I'm in contract. They don't say, well, then turn around and put your hands behind your back, you're under arrest. Because they know I'm in contract. I get to say things too. Like, no, I don't want my picture taken.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't want my I know it sounds crazy, but you have a right. Now, if you don't know how to stand up for it, they may arrest you, throw you in jail, and you don't know how to. But you shouldn't have done that. You couldn't have done that. You have to be willing to go to jail sometimes for their stupidity, to let them step on their appendage.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to step on their appendage, let them step on it.
Right.
So there's been 2 times, like I'll come in and I put up a tripod and I put the camera right at her. Let's talk. I record everything when I'm around her. I have her eyes watering because she's worried about being sued. If you keep threatening me with these notices of liability, I'm going to have the state police come talk to you. Like, it sounds like you're threatening me. She goes, no, you're threatening me. She says, no, I'm doing my job. I'm going to sue you if you harm me. I'm telling you that. I'm giving you due process. Nobody has ever given me due process,
Right.
A school is trespassing me for redressing at a school board. At minimum, if I was a school board member, I'd be like, guys, you can't do this. There's no due process here. We don't have delegated authority to do that. So if we're not following this rules, that means we made up our own, which means we're not following due process. That's the number one biggest problem. There's a thing out there called Due Process Defender. It's an AI app. Go get it, everybody. I don't have it yet. I don't need it. I want to get it just to fool around with, but I have to pick and choose with the money stuff,
Yeah.
But I believe Due Process Defender is going to be what everybody needs because it speeds everybody's up. I'm sped up. I really don't need it. I could see when my rights are violated. Most people don't know that their rights are being violated. Get Due Process Defender and see what happens. I would say to the school board, this is how you could have done it different. Mr. Yuhas, we invite you to a school board special hearing we want to have with you, a special executive session. Would you please come? And if I signed yes, it'd probably be under certain terms and conditions. So what's the chances I'm going to say yes?
Next to 0.
I would have said no anyhow.
Yeah.
Go to hell.
Yeah.
And I would have let them go through this process. I would like for them not to have done it because it's going to cost the school district and the individuals a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I have to finish this right because, eventually, I'll tell you, I just got to finish this properly. Because I can't let them, if they do it to me.
They can do it to anybody.
They can do it to anybody and they're going to scare them away from it's going to chill people. Like that's what was the intention of them when they were doing it to all the parents. They were going to make them terrorists for coming to the school board meetings. Remember back in the day when they were doing all that shit?
The Department of Justice was looking into them. It declared parents as domestic terrorists.
Oh yeah. So it chills everybody, and getting me chilled everybody. But it's not over. This is just the beginning. Like I went to vacation. I didn't go on vacation. I went to college for the last 3 months.
Yeah.
And I was studying hard to make sure I knew how to close this deal. And it was jail. I went to jail for 3 months.
All right. So let's go back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go back.
So
take me back.
So how do you, there's this probation thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you're in jail.
Right. She never signed the probation contract. And
to this day, has it been signed?
So if anybody says you can do a right to know, go ask for the probation contract between George Yuhas and Wyoming County Adult Probation. Go ask for it. You have a right to have it. It's public record. Go get it. If anybody sees a signature on there from her, I'll give you $100 because he's going to lend it to me, and I'll give it to you because you're not going to find it. And absent that,
but does that mean it doesn't exist?
Yeah, but they get to do what they want. It's their administrative courts. But here's the thing: I'm leaving their courts because she doesn't have a signature. She violated my due process rights. Where do you take people to press them against their due process rights? Not to administrative courts. I now know how to remove myself from their court, and I go to the federal court, and it's called it's a 42 USC 1983 lawsuit. It's our tool. 42 USC 1983 lawsuit. Now, when you hear 1983, it's not a year, it's just a number of statute. Right? So you go there, ask AI to teach you how to do it. Anytime you feel like your rights have been violated, and this is all you have to read. When your rights are violated from inside of here, you go to 42 USC 1983 and ask AI how to do it. And it's for us. It's literally for the people to do it. You don't need attorneys. You don't need money, right? There's going to be some filing fees and stuff like that. And when a judge sees it's egregious and it's unconscionable, again, if I knocked your hand away and made your chin drop, and I made you not happy about that, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, did I really violate your rights? So a judge is that's
technically not, yes.
Yeah, but the judge is going to be like, that's not unconscionable. So the standard, it has to be unconscionable. So you can hear how things for me are unconscionable. Like they converted a constitutionally protected right of redress of my government into a crime because I went past 4 minutes. Again, that's if I agreed to their terms and conditions, which I didn't. I was talking to them as one of the people. And yes, you have to talk to your public servants as one of the people, or you're beneath them. And they do find lots of ways to make us go beneath them. Simply by becoming a voter, you do go beneath them. Hey, you signed up to have us do this, so kind of get underneath there and shut up, if they wanted to. Mm-hmm. You do win sometimes, right? Like less than 5% of the people that fight their government win. The what do they call that? Plea deals. I don't plea ever. You don't plead guilty, not guilty, no contest. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get yourself in trouble. But so if you learn, you just don't plea. If anything, you can say something like, there was one guy would say, I am absolutely guilty of redressing my government. And I am absolutely guilty of picking my daughter during school hours. And I'm absolutely guilty of having dinner with my son at an open to the public meeting. Problem is, it's not a crime. There lies the trouble, So she doesn't sign it. It's time to supervise me. She never sends me a supervisor meeting. Anybody out there, he's got another $100 bill to give you.
George, I'm going to go broke proving your innocence.
Oh, but if you come, and that's the funny thing, you shouldn't have to prove your innocence, right?
Right.
You're not supposed to. They're never going to find it. So if you challenge him, you have to bring him a $100 bill. Go find this. They should have certified, because they sent me certified mail, a registered mail on where to pay a fine or pay a fee. But so they have my address. They know it. They can say, oh, you had too many addresses. No. The last 2 documents you sent me was a petition to come to court, registered mail, and the fees that you want me to pay. You sent it to me perfectly. You could have sent in advance of that a supervisory meeting saying, Mr. Yuhas, it is I, probation officer of adult probation. I'm here to tell you to come on this day so we can begin our supervisory of you. Do you think I would have went?
No,
I would have.
Oh, really?
I love engaging with these people. I would go, I'm at the courthouse literally more than the commissioners. And everybody in the courthouse knows it. They said I should get a card because they don't have to show up until Thursday or something like that.
Right.
I'm there. I'm there literally, if not once a week, once a month for the last 2 years, usually suing the probation people or involving them in a suit of some sort. I involve everybody. I love engagement. I am amicable. I love supervision. I love supervising my servants, my public servants, right?
Right.
I love nudging them and straightening them out, making them do the right things. I have her on video a week before I try to get a grand jury together in a hurry to prosecute her, because if we put our own grand jury together, we can prosecute her like just as a bunch of people. I just couldn't do it fast enough. And maybe because I felt like she was getting ready to do something, and she did. She petitioned me for a probation violation. Well, I have to be on probation to have a probation violation. Where's the contract together? We don't have one. And even if somehow she still milked that through, well, where was the meeting supposed to be? Because when I was at the courthouse, she wanted to get together and meet. Because what I did was I handed her this document just like this. Please take that. I said, I need you to sign that. That's the certificate of acceptance that you got this. She goes, well, I'm not going to sign that until we have our meeting, because she wants me to sign a new contract. And she was going to hold that hostage from me. It was a court paperwork. She was going to hold that hostage until I signed her new contract the right way, her way, not my way. And I'm like, you need to give that back to me. So you can't hold that hostage. She's like literally like being a child. And she's like, you're not getting this back till we. I said, so you're going to hold that hostage till I sign your new contract? I said, you wait right here. I went and got, the commissioner came over. I said, that's my property in her hand right there. If she keeps that, that breaks the chain of control of it, right? It has to stay under a custodial chain of command and control. And she won't sign it. And she's trying to blackmail me into signing a new contract. Can you hear the wrongness of this? Mm-hmm. And it's on video. I got it right now, but I don't know how to present it. I don't know how to make these things stick, and I'm learning. Well, so anyhow, the commissioner took it,
okay,
and he signed it for her, right? Just to have a signature on to shut me up, if you would.
Yeah,
and that's beautiful because it shows it was supposed to be her, but she wouldn't. So when they touch my paperwork, they're literally sharpening the blade on the guillotine.
Metaphorically,
they literally just keep putting themselves out there to get their appendages chopped off. They just hurt themselves.
Metaphorically,
thank you. So they do this to themselves. They hurt themselves, and that's okay. So it's unconscionable that she wouldn't sign that, and she was going to hold it as blackmail and had to be told by her boss that signed her check, give him his property back. Now, even though she did, she still committed the crime, and she was using it for blackmail. She didn't. Nothing got made right that day. I still have the video. I videotape them everywhere I go because that kind of shit happens all the time. Mm-hmm. It's insane what they do. It's just insane. I can't imagine that they're doing this, but they're doing it. It's unconscionable. And that's now I get to go to federal court with all this unconscionable stuff. It's just going to be perfect. So now she drums up. Oh, my nephew I'll say this way. My nephew had a teacher use the bottom of his foot onto his torso to discipline him. So a teacher used the bottom of his foot to discipline my nephew. The school calls us. He's my nephew. He's my godchild. I'm always at his house. I'm there when they get the call.
A
teacher has kicked your son, Mrs. So-and-so, and we need you to come and get him. So she went and got him. What teacher was it? Well, we really can't. Eventually they called us back, said who it was. Okay, no problem. Where's he at? Well,
Did they say kicked?
They say kicked.
Yeah.
They say kicked to us. He got kicked by a teacher.
Yeah.
I'll be nice and say he used the bottom of his foot to discipline my nephew.
Where on the body?
On the school, like just below his heart.
So that seems like a kick.
Okay,
so one thing meant one.
Later on, they started playing games with it, right? They started saying the alleged kick. No, you called us and told us he was kicked.
Right.
I'll be kind and say the teacher used the bottom of his foot to discipline my nephew. Okay.
Are they allowed to do that?
Why did you have to ask that? I'm gonna have to say no.
Yeah.
So this is happening, right? This is happening. I'm not in jail yet, but this is happening.
And this is like 3.5 months ago?
Yeah, 3.5 months ago. And I'm like, huh. I'm like, okay, so let's start gathering some evidence. That's what you do, right? And we know who it is now. We know that he got removed from the school. He met with a union representative almost immediately. The teacher.
The teacher, yeah.
Okay, he had to know his rights.
Right.
He got to get his rights, make sure he's protected.
Yeah.
Because even the accused has rights, and that's true. They didn't ask my brother and his family or Polly any questions, the police, until we literally went down there and metaphorically kicked the door open and said, you interviewed this kid right now. And I'll tell you why, Mr. Police Officer. What did you eat 4 days ago for breakfast? I don't know. Well, how the hell do you expect him to remember this if you keep letting this go for 15, 16, 18 days? You're going to leave procedural gaps in this prosecution, and people are going to tear you up.
Yeah.
And we're going to lose the case because you're making procedural gaps. You're not doing your job.
Yeah.
So 4 of us went in and sat around the table and put Polly here, the police officer there, and we were all sat there. And I was there as his advocate and his godfather, and so I would make sure he didn't hard question him, which he did a couple times, which I had to stop. He was a child, when he started shaking and stuff. He's like, well, what could you have done to deserve this? I'm like, no, that's victim blaming. You don't do that to a child or anybody. You don't victim blame. Well, how short was your skirt when you got raped? Like, no.
Yeah.
He wasn't a trained officer to deal with, and this is a special education student, by the way.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot harder. He's federally protected, okay?
Uh-huh.
None of this shit should have happened to him, period, end all. But it was happening. So we got an interview, and good. And the testimony was perfect, right? He didn't have to get coached, right? Because it's pretty basic. I did this. They have video. They have video evidence of it. They brought it. They showed us the video evidence. And they gave us the testimony from the 4 eyewitnesses. And they gave us the admittal from him that he used his foot to discipline the child. This isn't maybe. This isn't a bad angle. Right? They did try to do a little victim blaming because he was like, well, for most, and I think it has the opposite effect. Well, for most of the recess, he was really being annoying and troublesome. So when he came around the corner, I put my foot up so you basically, you
premeditated.
Yeah. So you knew what you were going to do. But anyhow, we finally get into a judge, and I'm like, you know what? Because he's special need, we have all this evidence. We should just plead the 5th for him so he doesn't have to go up on the stand and face his accuser and go through that terror.
Yeah.
Because he can't go to school with the idea of him being there. He's sick to his stomach. It's almost the end of the year. He's throwing up every time because, he's special need. He's got emotional and behavioral problems. And the lady prosecutor comes into the magistrate's office, and she has her back to us because she almost walks by. I said, wait a minute, Mrs. So-and-so. We're like, we want to let you know that we think that we should plead the 5th for him. You have enough evidence. That's what we'd like to do. She goes, and she walks in. She never talked to my brother once or my nephew once. They go in without us. They're in there with the defense, probably making deals like how they're going to settle this or whatever. Call us in. The video it's kind of like an O.J. Simpson thing. The video got squashed somehow because it wasn't properly introduced. The police testimony, the police were on the school grounds when it happened. So they got interviewed immediately. So there wasn't like 3 or 4 days later, immediately, so that everybody was fresh. And good thing, because they're young kids, right? Like they're 12 years old maybe. All the witness test statements got withdrawn because the police officer that took him wasn't there. Everything was procedural failures. Because of procedural failures, everything got dismissed. He wasn't found innocent. They just dismissed it because it was acquitted. So they'll claim it as a victory like he won. He didn't win nothing. He admitted to it. You can never take that away. Now, here in criminal court, if you would, they won, right? They got it dismissed because they had a really high-tech attorney who just kicked the shit out of our little junky ass assistant district attorney who knew she was going to get beat up. She let herself get beat up. She didn't even talk in court. She was doing one of these to the judge. Oh, well, what are you going to do, Mrs. So-and-so? You don't.
I didn't know shrugging was a defense.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
All right, so you witnessed this, and
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like speed us
Yeah,
along here
so
because
then-
I want people to pay attention.
But
to
I'm
this.
letting them know, hey, we're getting ready to sue you on this matter. We're taking you to federal court. within days, I do that, and then I'm suing the school again for another matter because she was trying to silence me on emails. I'm like, you can't silence me on emails. I was sending a lawsuit to the school about this matter. She calls a district attorney.
I'm
helping my
currently
brother.
trespassed.
I'm trespassed.
At this moment, you're currently trespassed.
Yep.
With a probation document that no one else signed.
Right. And then, at the sentencing, the judge was trying to tell me that I can have a no contact access to the school properties. And he was listing off the properties. I'm like, well, sir, if you do that property, I can't go to my school board meeting. I get a chance to redress my government. And Holly Arnold jumps up in the back and says, well, Your Honor, we don't think we should have to accommodate Mr. Yuhas's redresses. And he's like, who are you? Oh, I'm so-and-so, the school board president. She goes, well, Mrs. Arnold, you understand, Mr. Yuhas has the right to redress his government. I go like this. Your Honor, what did you just say? I had the right to redress my government? This is void amnesia. This is what I told you 2.5 months ago. This case is about redressing my government. You just told her I had the right to redress my government. But yet, this is about redressing my government. You just voided this entire case, void amnesia. Right? Still really don't know what that means because I read it's there.
Yeah.
And I thought I had it done. He's calling it pseudo law. I'm like, no, I'm reading. That's what you do. But he found a way to sidestep it. So he said that to her. It's declared. It's on transcript. He has the transcript. So when I was now suing him for my nephew and they were trying to avoid it, they weren't taking services. So the one time I got it was pretty funny. It was near Mother's Day. And I had a guy get a gift bag and put the papers in a gift bag and some flowers and ring the doorbell because nobody was taking papers. So when they opened up the door and he took this, because it looked like it was going to be a gift, the chocolates or something. He hands her papers and walks away and takes all the other gifts with her. And the lady stuck with them. And they actually talked about it in court and said, Miss Yuhas used deceitful ways of getting the information. Yeah, because you won't fucking take the serve. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, but the other thing is like, how many times have you ever heard of the police trying to find people on warrants and they say everybody's getting like free food or something and everybody shows up and they all get arrested?
What they don't know is we were just videotaping it to videotape it, because the reality of it is when they refuse our registered mail, it's still accepted. The minute that registered mail gets stamped,
it's the post office, right?
Yeah, as soon as they stamp it, it's under lock and key, so therefore it's considered delivered. And when they refuse it and it gets refused, all it shows is it shows neglect on your part as a public official, and it's a crime. But they don't know it, and I don't know how to finish the deal till now. It's unconscionable they wouldn't take these services because they know they're getting sued for $750,000 a piece. That's to $1.5 million. And all of a sudden I get said that they're saying that I can't send them mail. So this is very important. They're saying part of my technical violation, they're saying, one, I didn't come to the supervisory meeting that they never gave me, because you're never going to find that the probation office ever gave me proper service of a date to come show up. I would have been there freaking with cameras and people, and I would have enjoyed it,
Yeah.
I'd love to sign a contract so long as I'm involved. It's not a one-way contract,
Right.
So you're never going to find that. The fact that the judge said I can redress my government, that was his last declaration out of his mouth to my school board. So that's what I'm doing when I sue them through the mail. I never even use adjectives or adverbs when I'm suing them. I just give facts. You said this, you did that. This is what happens. This is what's going to happen. I never say, you stupid son of a bitch, look what you've done to my nephew.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Or you handsome person.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just perfect. It's called perfecting the document. So that's what I do. So anyhow, they get me in there for mailing them stuff, and they get me in there for not going to supervisory meeting. You're supposed to get a Gagnon 1 hearing and a Gagnon 2. Gagnon is a man that a court case was named after because he didn't get 2 hearings. So they're supposed to bring in the violation. They're supposed to bring in, this is a list of the probable cause of all that we're saying that has happened. And I should get it when I say, okay, could you prove this, this, and this? No, we can't. Okay, let's have our sentencing hearing on the 15th. You come back, you get a Gagnon 2 hearing. Well, due to the fact that you could not prove any of these, Mr. Yuhas is found innocent, no further action taken, right? But instead, he didn't even give me a Gagnon 1 hearing. He actually moved me right into a Gagnon 2 hearing, right? Where I couldn't even get a chance to prove my innocence. The fact that there's no messages, and he himself said, Your Honor, you yourself at the end of the sentencing said to Holly Arnold and Mrs. Crystal Kowalczyk, who was standing right there, and you said to him, Mr. Yuhas had a right to redress his government. That's what I was doing. I didn't go onto the property. I paid a constable, or I paid a delivery guy, or I paid registered mail to have that stuff delivered. Now they're trying to say that I wasn't allowed to do electronic, couldn't email them stuff because I would email them the same thing, right? To make sure they had it. To be fair, I wanted them to have it.
Yeah, here's the physical, here's the digital.
Yeah, so they had it. It gives them 3 days a head start, to be honest with you, because it takes 3 days for the registered mail. It gives them a chance to respond. So they came in, Mr. Yuhas emailed us 62-page documents and a 51-page document. I'm like, yeah, that's called due process. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the operating manual for Adobe Premiere.
Yeah. That's what you're supposed to do. You should be doing that to me, but you never do. You just give me a 1-pager saying, get off the property. No, you don't do that. That's not due process. So I said, Your Honor, I said, you know as well as I do, you have a transcript up there right now. And the transcript says I had the right to redress them with grievances. And that's what you do. You send it through the mail. You pay a constable. You pay a delivery guy. That's what you do. But he wanted me in jail so bad that he didn't give me a Gagnon 1. He didn't offer me counsel, nor did I waive counsel. He went right to a Gagnon 2. And not only did he go to a Gagnon 2, but to evade the Meek Mill law. Meek Mill, the rapper.
Yeah.
He was involved in a case where he had a lot of money, so he paid an attorney that actually got legislation change that says when you have a technical violation of probation, meaning you missed an appointment or you did something technically wrong, a direct violation would be you punch somebody who you have a PFA against, right? And therefore, it's a direct violation.
Yeah.
And
technical is like you guys are at the same restaurant accidentally.
Yeah, that or you miss an appointment because the mail didn't get to you or didn't get sent to you. And when the technical violation happens, then you can't spend more than 14 days in jail. Well, they really want to stick it to me. And I didn't know this was happening because I didn't even know what a Gagnon 1 was or a Gagnon 2 was or what a Meek Mill law was. I didn't know any of this. I wasn't expecting to even go to jail that day because my dogs weren't fed. My wife and kids were away. I'm like, what the hell? He goes, we're going to move to resentencing you in 30 to 90 days and a mental health evaluation and blah, blah, blah.
Because you sent emails about an assaulted nephew.
And he had on his counter, on his desk, he had his transcript where he said, I had the right to redress my government. He wouldn't read it. He goes, Mr. Yuhas, I go, just read it into the record. You have it right there. Just read it for me. He goes, Mr. Yuhas, get your own copy. That's what he said to me. Now, I didn't know what a Gagnon 1 was. I would say, well, Your Honor, I would like to. If you gave me a Gagnon 1 hearing, I would be able to go get my own copy and say, look what you said. You told me and the girls I had the right to redress my government. When you sue them, that's redressing them. And you do it through the mail, that's addressing them through the mail. So I had the right to do that. You said it. You said it out loud. That's a declaration. It's on the record. Plus, you didn't give me the details. You said I couldn't go on the property. I didn't. So there's a little play that they like to do. Some of the people in there's a Supreme Court law that says when they say no contact order, right, they have to be specific if they don't want you emailing them. But if it's your government, how do you redress them? So to be fair, if you're a Republican or a Democrat and you want to silence your entire other side, just trespass everybody and nobody gets to redress you. That's what he's saying.
That's what he's saying. Yeah.
That's exactly what he's saying. Because that's what he's doing for them. He's allowing fraud to come to his court. And he's exacerbating the fraud. And I don't know how to do judicial complaints, but he didn't give me Gagnon 1. He didn't give me counsel. So I knew exactly what this was happening to him. I'm like, whoa. I'd like to have counsel right about now. I never got Miranda right or nothing like that. Just move me right through their system because they're sidestepping, doing administrative tangling. It's unconscionable what they did. Fine. Guess what I need? I need unconscionable things to happen to me. I wasn't expecting to be in jail for 14 days. Let alone 30, let alone 60, let alone 90. If I knew I could have prepared for that in a sense, and maybe they have ways that you can use your time. Like they have tablets in there that you can take courses. Like I'd love to be a grant writer because I think grant writing can help people fight this type of system with grant writing, and I think I'd be very good at it. Right. So I would have I could have had a whole degree. I could have had I could have got my grant writer certificate and be grant writing right now instead of talking to you about this shit.
Yeah.
But they put me in jail, dude. And when I got in there, the first couple
Did you expect to go to jail?
No, I was not even expecting. I'm like, holy shit. I didn't know what it was because they didn't even tell me in the petition what this was. They didn't say you risk jail time here. I'm like, they didn't give me counsel. They didn't ask me if I wanted counsel, nor did I waive counsel. Last time I remember when I did this hearing with him, I had a standby counsel that could have tugged on my shirt and said, hey, you're going to risk jail time here. Quiet down. Let's see if we can get a recess so we can see where the gag down 1 hearing is and see if we can get that stirred up. Because we need gag down 1 to prove that they didn't mail you nothing, because they didn't. You'll never find it. You're never going to find that they mailed me something. And they mailed me 2 documents prior telling me about the petition and telling me about the money. So why didn't they send me my supervisory meeting? Because they didn't. And it's due process that you have to tell somebody where to go to meet them. And if you don't tell them, they can't be there. It's kind of like the Ruby Ridge thing. They put the wrong date on it. He had a technical violation. They put a warrant out for his arrest, and that's what caused that whole chaos.
Yeah.
These people could have got me hurt or my family hurt because they're saying I didn't show up for a meeting. Well, show me the document. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, he was supposed to go to court for something like a sawed-off shotgun or something like that. Or there's a hearing.
They deliberately changed the date, so he missed it. So they gave him a warrant for his arrest. That's the only reason I ever go into court, because at the bottom of their documents it says, "We'll send a warrant for your arrest if you don't come in. If you go in, you're admitting to jurisdiction. If you don't go in, they can come harm you." So like, what do you do? So I'm trying to figure that out, and I think it's letters of rogatory and abatement. And remove yourself immediately when you know it's a unconstitutional violation. Remove yourself to federal court. Stop giving them a chance to play with you. Go to federal court. And it sounds scary, but I think it's easier, and I'm about to do it. So anyhow, they take me right over to the courthouse.
So your wife, your kids,
they're on vacation.
Nobody has any idea.
They're on vacation. I'm the one taking care of the house, the animals, the freaking everything.
Holy shit.
And I'm like, Judge, I said, I don't even know this was happening. I said, look, I've come to every one of your hearings every time. I have no trouble coming back and going to jail. I said, but I need time to plan for this. So you should have planned. I'm like, how could I plan? You didn't even tell me what I was doing. You had a petition hearing. What the hell is a petition hearing?
Yeah.
You didn't say it was a gag down 1 hearing with a potential for a gag down 2 and a sentencing. I would have said, whoa. What is this? Give me a minute.
So I think we missed this part. Your probation officer.
Yeah.
Did she violate your probation? How do you be on probation and then you get into this system?
So I was on probation, and she was saying
probation that no one signed.
That she didn't sign. I'm the only one signed under duress. She wouldn't sign it because she probably knew she was going to get sued by me further.
Yeah.
By now she should have recused herself because she has a personal lawsuit against her, right? I have a private lawsuit against her for the violation of my rights.
Yeah.
So she shouldn't have any say. She'd be recusing herself for sure, like Shirtliff was doing. Every probation officer in her office that ever tried to preside over me always recused himself and stopped, because they know they can't preside over a living man. They can only preside over a ward. And I never signed myself over as a ward. I reserved my rights as a man, right? So they need me to turn myself into this thing, a ward or an inmate or a probationer, and I would never do that.
So what is the infraction for this?
It should have been 14 days for a technical violation. Yeah,
but what was the moment that everyone became aware of this and had further action? Because you're just on probation, go through the thing, a year, you're done. Was it the emails?
Oh, listen, yeah. So it was the emails. I forgot to tell you this. So
this is a pretty pivotal point.
Yeah,
about like how you go to jail.
Holly writes Joe Peters and CCs me, right? So I can't email her, but she can email me. But she CCs me on this email saying,
no, this is the school director.
The school board president copies me on an email and
to the district attorney.
To the district attorney saying, Mr. Joe Peters, Mr. Yuhas is violating his probation and making contact with us through the email. Right? I'm like, well, you just emailed me. Like, you can't do a PFA and then send me, nude pictures.
Correct.
So anyhow, then, and I say that could that happen to somebody in jail. So then Joe Peters goes out of his way and emails her back. I don't think he knows that I'm attached. He emails her back, right? This is the same guy that allowed me to have my rights violated for redressing my government. He allowed the fraud to be sent to the judge. So he allowed the fraud to go to the court.
Yeah.
He said, Holly Arnold, as frustrating as it is, Mr. Yuhas has rights to redress his government. That's what he said to her.
That sounds like a good thing to say.
Yeah. 2 years earlier, I didn't have those rights, but all of a sudden I got those rights.
Mm-hmm.
He said that to her. But they still somehow chugged me along and got me this petition. And if I got to introduce that evidence, that's what
the email.
The Gagnon one is where I would have said, I wish
Judge, here's where you said your thing.
I would have loved to know what a Gagnon 1 was at the time. I didn't know what it was until I went to jail. I didn't know what a Gagnon 2 was. I didn't know Meek Mill law. I didn't know about resentencing. What's the difference between probation and parole? So anyhow, I would have loved to say this. So if I had to do it all over again, good morning, Your Honor. I'm George Yuhas. I'm here for this petition hearing as a Gagnon 1 hearing. Is that right, Your Honor? Is this a Gag 1? Well, yes, sir, Mr. Yuhas. It is a Gag 1. Very good, Your Honor. I'd like to see a copy of the probable cause affidavit of what they're claiming the technical violations are of this probation that's not even signed by Mrs. Kowalczyk. Could we get her to sign that, Your Honor, real quick so that we have a mutual binding contract? And he'd look at her and say, would you please sign it? She'd be like, I ain't signing that, but maybe he'd talk her into it. Great. I'll see you later. Sign it. Give it to me. Okay, great. Now we have a probation contract. Thank you, Mrs. Kowalczyk. We now have a binding contract together. Let's see about this technical violation. You said that I missed a probation supervisory meeting. Which one was that? And can I get a copy of the one that you sent to my registered mail? You know where my address is because you sent me 2 other documents. Can I get a copy of that the supervisory meeting and the one that I missed? I don't have one. Oh, okay, Your Honor. So we're going to have to dismiss that charge, Your Honor. Okay, very good. All right, what are some of the other charges? Well, it seems as though you sent 62-page lawsuit. They don't say lawsuit, they say email. You sent a 62-page lawsuit to the school district suing them one for $1.5 million and another one for 51 pages for another $1.5 million. And you sent constables and deliverymen and post office people to their offices, and you're delivering this redresses of grievances. Yes, Your Honor, I did that. Well, Mr. Yuhas, what do you say about yourself? I have your transcript, Your Honor. I knew you were going to say this, so I got a copy of the transcript, and I know I have a right to redress my government. You told the girls I had a right to redress my government, so we're going to have to move them to the side, Your Honor, and we got no more charges left here, so I think we're going to make this all go away. But I didn't get any of that. And I'll tell you why. I forgot about this part. 2 weeks earlier, I'm thinking I'm going to go to equity court, get out of these legal courts. I want to try. I got to make something work that you can go to, my wife can go to, anybody can go to. Equity court is inside your courthouse. Equity is, he pushed his arm down. It wasn't constitutional, but he didn't have any right to push his arm down. So let's take him to equity court. Right? Because it's not a constitutional violation, but there was some harm done there and it didn't hurt anything. It's like, and maybe you'll get $1,000 off of me, or at least someone wagging a finger. You do this again, we're going to put you 30 days in jail for touching him.
Yeah.
It's equity, right? Because it's where equity meets justice, right? So where a man gets pulled over and as he's pulling out his driver's license and his medical marijuana card hits the ground or whatever, and the police officer picks it up and says, oh, you got a medical marijuana card? Oh, yes, sir. He goes, well, when's the last time you smoked? Oh, like 4 days ago. Oh, turn around, you're under arrest, DUI. But that's not justice.
No.
I mean, the police officer pulled him over for a freaking for a taillight, and he fished for something. And so that's when a police officer have to learn how to do equity. You pulled him over for the taillight. Why'd you fish? And if you take him to equity court, the judge can say, Mr. Police Officer, really? What'd you pull him over for? Well, Your Honor, he had a broken taillight. Do you feel like that's a good reason to pull somebody? Well, yes, because it can cause an accident. Very good. That's the charge, right? Yes. Why did we move past that? Why did you dig? Who cares? Was he acting drunk or high? No.
You had no probable cause.
Yeah, no probable cause for that. But when the man said yes, by rule, he just admitted to a crime. So the cop has no choice. Or does he? He can still use his discretion in equity. Right? No one knows what equity is. Please start learning what equity is. We should possibly live in an ecclesiastical law with equity, not just man-made law. Put Jesus up on the cross because he broke the law. You ever see those signs that says he shouldn't have broke the law and Jesus is up there all bloody?
Jesus.
Yeah, because think about it. Jesus went on the cross because he broke a law.
I've never seen that. That's insane.
Yeah, it's a T-shirt, like an emblem, and it makes a lot of sense. There's this little old woman holding a sign saying he shouldn't have broke the law.
Right.
It's a man-made law that Jesus broke. That's why he went up there.
Yeah.
And so that's what's happened. No one's applying equity to things. So I try to take them to equity court. So I got all the school board members to go to this court. I got the administration.
This is 2 weeks earlier.
2 weeks earlier,
yeah.
Right? So I want equity court in Wyoming County about this case, how everybody's been unequitable, everybody's been harming me, right? And guess where they send me? I'm in Wyoming County. I request equity court in Wyoming County. They sent me to Monroe County in front of the judge that prosecuted me about the case that I'm there to get equity over. How could he preside?
Jesus Christ, really?
How can he determine his own fate? So I went down. That's fine. I'll go down. And they weren't supposed to bring any attorneys, right? They're supposed to bring themselves with no attorneys. And if they want an attorney, that means they have to relinquish their officer's immunity. If they're going to bring an attorney to represent them, they don't come with any immunity. Well, they didn't let that happen. The judge allowed one attorney to cover all of the school people, which was breaking my order, right? Because we get to give orders. This is how I want equity. The sheriff, this is what blew my mind. The sheriff lady says, I'm here to represent the sheriff and its liability.
The sheriff
and
its liability.
Why did she say it's?
Because it's an entity?
It's not a man. It's a fiction. Everybody who turned himself into fictions, I was trying to remove all their fiction. So they sit there as men and women, the men and women that are attacking me, because they're personally attacking me. Their entities are not allowed to do what they've done to me. They're not allowed to make law. Their entity has rules. And it's legislated that says you cannot make laws. Your entity cannot make laws. As a man or a woman, they can go like this and just make up their own laws. They made their own laws. So that means they stepped outside their immunity to make one up because
they're immune as long as they follow the laws.
As long as they follow the delegated authority that we gave them. I gave them delegated authority to do some things, but not to do that. I gave it to them. How did I do it? I voted so-and-so in the office who made that law. So therefore, I'm responsible for that legislation that said, you can do this to me. As long as you follow this, you can do whatever you want to me. The minute you go like this and you hide that and you make up your own shit, you just broke immunity. Therefore, you're not protected anymore. Therefore, a 1983 lawsuit sues you. My grandkids plays with your grandkids' toys in the future. Right? Because I get to personally go after them, and I didn't do it; they did it. I just happen to know how to do it now, because they sent me to the University of Wyoming County Correctional Facility, and I learned so much while I was there. I needed to go there. God sent me there to finish the deal. Hey, I got to read something for you. Yeah, I read that. I wrote this poem because I realized that.
Do you want to talk about prison at a different time?
Just this one thing, this poem. It's okay. Because I say God sent me there so I can fix all this shit and get this all organized, because I did get a lot of shit organized a lot of time. And we will talk about prison because I got crushed when I was there. I lost 32 pounds. I got a completely torn rotator cuff. I got 2 blown discs in my neck, and not maybe. The minute they set me free, the Veterans Outreach for Justice program took me right to the VA emergency room. I got blown.
You literally walk out of the prison straight to the VA.
Right, straight to the VA. So
no, you don't see your wife.
Nothing. Right to just. I didn't want to break chain of custody, because what I did was I self-admitted myself up there. I saw 10 doctors like in 3 days, checking everything out. Malnourished, freaking supposedly sugar diabetes, but how could you be sugar diabetes? It's because of all the pain I've been in for the last 2.5 months. It messes with your insulin and your hormones, and they're trying to jam pills down my throat. And I'm like, guys, you got to leave me alone in there. You're driving me nuts. Like they're trying to, they won't give me sleep medicine, but they'll give me medicine that makes you depressed, that makes you suicidal. I'm like, no, thank you. Please keep that shit away from me, Right. So there's a lot of stuff, but I wrote this, and this is what's amazing is that when I was in there, my one buddy from church said, could you imagine if you read the Bible nearly as much as you read law? And he said that, in a kind way, right? To help me, maybe get in the Bible a little bit more. In the beginning, all they gave me was the Bible, but the Bible has contract law in it. The Bible has banking law in it. The Bible is a great piece of equipment. If you're not a Christian or you don't believe in the Bible or God for some reason, just know that if you scratch the word Bible off there and say a book that fixes everything, it does. It has everything that we live is in it, I happen to follow it pretty hard because I believe in Jesus Christ and I believe that he's my Lord and Savior. So I'm not afraid to say it. And I want you to know that
it's crazy that in this day and age, that's a taboo thing to say.
Yeah, we're getting so populated. We have so many different angles we can go. Ultimately, everybody will know at one point, whether it's in their last breath or whether it's in their first breath. People will just eventually know at their own pace. We have to be like the Quakers and let it happen.
Yeah.
The 3 biggest and baddest men on my block all got saved. They all got
in prison
saved while I was there.
They got saved while you were in prison.
Yeah. All I did was I helped them pray and they accepted Christ into their hearts. I didn't know this shit was happening on the outside with Mr. Kirk getting killed. I had no clue that this was happening. Those men got saved. They're going to come to my church when they get out and we're going to baptize them at my church. So you pray with them and you give them a chance to accept Christ.
When are they getting out? Do you know when they're getting out? Or are they getting out at different times?
Everybody gets out different. No one gets out at the right time. It's the craziest thing. Wyoming County is really frigged up. But I want to read this to you. Hang on. I wrote this poem because I have I have a little nightstand. I call it a nightstand. It's a tote with a lid on it. And a lot of times I'm falling asleep because sometimes you sleep like 1 hour intervals or less because the guards come in and rattle the cages and look to see if everybody's okay. No one's killing themselves, blah, blah, blah. So it's just so noisy there. I got pain from the injuries I got the first couple of days in there and I just can't sleep. So I write a lot. I wrote over 400 pages in 90 days. And I can assure you there's a book coming out of this. But this is a poem that I wrote. And I realized I wrote this poem because I remember reading about sparrow wars when I was in the Marines. The Art of War has this idea of sparrow wars where if a big raven is flying through the sky or an eagle like me who's taken this charge all by himself, a kid with a BB gun can shoot a freaking eagle out of the sky. Mm-hmm. It's slow and lethargic, right? And it's a big target. That's what I've been. I'm not ashamed of that work because I learned a lot because of it, right? It's kind of like I walk out in the middle, I get exposed, sure, but I find like there's just another idea is that you make constant contact with your opposition or your enemy. It says make constant contact with your opposition or your enemy because you'll find their weaknesses and their strengths along with yours. So I make constant contact with my enemy or my opposition and I find their weaknesses and their strengths. And I found one of my weaknesses, right? I didn't know how to keep myself out of jail. I allowed them to snag me, right?
Right.
So I got to learn how to have court through the mail or stay out of jail somehow. And I'm going to work on that because I don't think it's fair that anybody can be thrown in jail like this, right? I'm glad it was me and not my son, not you or somebody who won't be able to handle it. Not to say that I handled it, because it was a hard time. But I realized that also that comes from the Art of War about making constant contact, because you got to learn your enemy's strengths and weaknesses.
Love your enemies. It's not about like loving your enemies.
Well, that's from the Bible. This part is from the Art of War, where literally what it means is like probe your enemy's lines. And then when you're having a hard time there and you're losing a lot of lives, don't stop hitting there. It was easy to go that way. So go attack over there.
Right.
And then you realize maybe you need larger caliber weapons. You'll find your weaknesses. So that's the Art of War. But a simple one that got by me was this idea of a sparrows war. So when we were with Citizen Advisory and we had like 1,800 people, that's sparrows. Imagine a flight of sparrows coming over. Try to shoot one of them out of the sky.
Can't.
But could you shoot a big old slow eagle?
Yes. Even
though it's beautiful and looks great and comes in out heroic, you're going to shoot them out of the sky. So we need to bring the sparrow wars in. Think about the 2 million people that watched my first video that I ever did, and I didn't do it on purpose. Somebody snagged a junky video and I had these old glasses on like this and I looked like an old man. 2 million people watched me in 24 hours. Really? Mm-hmm. because they liked what I was saying. And now what I was saying was not finished. I'm ready to go. Where's those sparrows? Come back. Start looking onto this stuff. Get this built back up. We got to get this right. And no more lone wolf eagles or ravens because they're going to get shot down. Let's do this together. And not only be sparrows, but be sparrows with the armor of God on, right? So do this with righteousness, right? And let me read what I wrote, because I started thinking about the sparrow wars, because I'm trying to think for my wife's sake. I can't keep doing this alone. If I'm going to get back with my wife and we're going to fix all that might have gotten broken because of all the craziness, all the legal attacks, the loss of money, the losing potential of our house because of money problems, because of all the legal attacks, I got to fix this. And the way I fix it is stop trying to do it myself anymore. Okay, I did it, and I got beat up, but I learned a lot, and I'm ready to expose them. And let's go. I'll help find the evildoers, and we'll swarm them, with the sparrow wars, right? So here's my poem that I wrote. Okay, it's called Sparrows, Wearing the Armor of God. And this was before Charlie Kirk got killed. I didn't know he got killed for days after I wrote this. I pray in the name of Jesus, rise up, people, for a bloodless revolution has been placed before us. The protection of our land rests in our hands. Do good works. In the Bible, God talks a lot about doing good works. Just I'm doing good works. I'm not making anything up. I don't have to lie. I don't have to exaggerate. I just give the facts and do good works. Do good works like a flight of sparrows rising together, swarm everywhere. Deliver your multitudes, seek the good, and overwhelm the wicked. By your sheer numbers, the evildoers will be brought to exhaustion. Leave space only for God's vengeance. I will take revenge. I will repay them, says the Lord. My problem is I was looking for revenge. So when they did something bad to me, like, you son of a bitch, you just cost me this much money. No, I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that anymore. I'll take them to the edge of a cliff by doing good works, and I'll work them backwards. And if God wants to take vengeance, he'll come have a wind and blow them over, or have the cliff fall away. Or maybe like Saul, he'll give them a pass because they've learned their lesson. So be it. If he's merciful, great. If he wants to give them vengeance, he can. But it's not up to me to do vengeance anymore or get revenge. Just do good works. So prosecuting them is going to be doing good works. If God lets me win, great. If he lets them win, great. I'm still going to continue to do good works. So by your sheer numbers, the evildoers will be brought to exhaustion. Leave space only for vengeance of God. I will take revenge. I will repay, says the Lord. May our eyes remain open to see that even the dark flight of a raven may be turned aside by the united flight of sparrows. Fly, swarm, be free. Sparrow wars. That was my my little prayer poem that I wrote. And I said, I wrote this prayer before I ever knew about Charlie Kirk's death. I will not rewrite it. I find it even more powerful after finding out the news. I wrote it in the night notes, which are notes I write as I come to me as I sleep, or when I should be sleeping. I wake up, I'm like, hey, I got to do this. I got to do that. And for some reason, I wrote that all in one setting. I didn't write it in 2 or 3 different settings. I woke up and that just wrote. This was a notable night, or shall I say morning, as it was 4:30 a.m. As Suni once said, do not go back to sleep. The morning breeze has secrets to tell you. So that morning I woke up around 4:30 and I just wrote that whole poem. It just kind of flowed. I did not go back to sleep. I wrote down the secrets. My night notes are revealing. I was in jail. News comes late to me, depending on when I get to make a phone call or who I speak with, and what gets passed along slowly. I couldn't possibly have known when I first wrote and tested this with my wife. When I did learn that about Charlie's death, days later, the event sharpened the words, but did not change their meaning. We live in what I would call a cold revolution. Because if you think about a cold revolution, it's like a cold war. In a cold war where pressure is constant, but the fire is contained. And yet even the cold struggles, blood is sometimes let. Meaning, even though we were in a cold war with Russia, we did lose a few pilots, and they did lose a few pilots. Even Trump bombed Russians in Syria,
Yeah.
we are in a cold war, but sometimes you still have skirmishes, you know? So once in a while, you'll have the skirmishes, you'll have accidents, you'll have sudden violence. When Charlie Kirk was taken, the world could have tipped towards rage, but his wife answered with forgiveness. And the act was not weakness, it was strength. Forgiveness can cool a moment, prevent escalation, and keep a community from tipping into cycles of violence. Now, for me, wanting to use sparrows and doing good works and letting the vengeance be God's, I too think we should forgive those who know not what they do, but continue to do our good works and try not to be harmed while it's happening, because we can keep things cool. You know, putting me in jail, there's a lot of people pissed off that I went to jail. And there's probably some people that are happy I went to jail, but the people that are happy, come have coffee with me, invite me anywhere you go. I'll meet you anywhere. You're not going to hate me because I'm not against you. You should not be against me. This is for us. We got to learn how not to let judicial supremacy, because depending on the levers of powers, even you one day will have judicial supremacy laid on you. You don't want that. We want this corrected. We want to find out, how do we keep our public servants in check so they can't just rule over us with an iron fist? That's not good for anybody. So forgiveness can cool a moment, prevent escalation, and keep a community from tipping into cycles of violence. At the same time, forgiveness does not erase responsibility. Our governing institutions, when they work as they should, carry out investigations and accountability. Strong leadership also matters. Here, like President John F. Kennedy during the Cuban Missile Crisis, leaders can stand firm and keep their heads, using diplomacy and to steer a conflict back from the brink. That's how sparks stay sparks and do not turn into wildfires. It's not unrealistic to expect that evildoers will try to silence us, but bloodletting is the least productive way to silence a voice. It often creates martyrs and fuels more rage. Violence tends to magnify the message it tries to erase, and it can seduce lone actors into darkest acts. Forgiving and trusting lawful process is very hard for many. You would think for me too. Patience and faith are required. We, the people, the true government of the people, by the people, and for the people, must ensure that the institutions and service corporations that we built or elect do their jobs. When they fail, we press them. When we consult our public officials and we instruct them to return to their duties to the people, if the state tries to silence civic voices through judicial overreach or petty prosecutions like me, we must oppose that legally and not feed cycles of violence that a dark raven would use to spread fear. That is where the sparrow image helps us. One sparrow is small, a flock is powerful. The sparrow war is not about violence, it's about persistence and unity and overwhelming evil with good works. My poem calls us to rise, to swarm, to do good everywhere, and to leave vengeance to God. I will repay, says the Lord. Our duty is to be sparrows wearing the armor of a God, to protect, to forgive, to outlast, and to overwhelm harm, not with fists, but with goodness and steady community action. I am honored to be able to say Charlie Kirk's name as many times as I have here in this piece. May God rest his soul. I have seen much horror in my life as a Marine. I am horrified with this act of violence against Charlie Kirk and his family. Dear God, continue to steady us all as we do your good works. Amen. Fly, swarm, be free, sparrow wars. So that's how I felt before I knew Charlie Kirk was killed. That's where I was headed with my speech, because my wife got that in August, like August 31st. I think I sent it to her.
Yeah, he was murdered on September 10th.
Yeah. So it took a little while for me to get that message that that's what happened. So I added this end piece to this, knowing that one day I'd be speaking with you. But it's a big deal to do good works. I read that over and over again. I know what that is. Like, I don't have to lie. Like, dude, think about tonight. Even though I said I'm going to lie every time, so I have to do that for technical reasons. But everything I said, I challenge anybody to say, oh, here's where he's wrong. You know, you're never going to find where I'm wrong.
It's important for people to know whether or not, like, they should be able to discern themselves whether or not somebody's telling the truth or whether it's provable.
There's my.
Would you AI that?
Yeah. Where can I put that?
Here.
That's my sparrow. That's a sparrow wearing the armor of God. An eagle's more.
It's kind of badass.
Yeah.
It's kind of badass.
Yeah. Everybody wants to do the eagle, but the eagle gets shot down.
You should literally frame that.
Yeah.
You should print that out and frame that.
The eagle gets shot down, right? So I'm an eagle. I got my wing. I literally got my wing wounded.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, hey, I got some sparrow buddies, right? Because this eagle got wounded, right? In jail, they call me the real American badass. They called me in jail. And when the guys call me that, I say, like someone will come by and say, yo, what's up, real American badass? I say, on paper, right? Because like I send like all kinds of, I keep sending, I've not been, the jail did not silence me, didn't stop my paperwork flow. I sent over 400 pages out that door because they have to take it because it's under camera. So when you hand it to the guards, they got to take it. We'll talk about it later, but it just made me.
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this story is so big and so complex.
Yeah.
And prison is a whole other animal. You're 3 months in there. And would you feel comfortable doing a whole separate one just on the prison?
Yeah.
Because I think getting you to where you are now, I mean, look, we're almost at 4 hours.
Yeah. And I'm sorry about that.
No. It's not your fault, but there's a lot of great information in there.
Yeah. I didn't even talk about jail.
That's my point.
Oh,
where it's like, I think that.
Let me give you a teaser. Let me give you a quick teaser.
Yeah.
I put breath into a man's lungs and had to give him compressions.
Yeah.
Because nobody in the prison knew what to do. Now, surprisingly enough, 4 weeks later, they got defibrillators all over the place now. Because I basically said, how the hell dare you let this happen? You did this. That's what I was saying to the administration, you know?
Which means you're still protecting people even in jail.
If I get started, we won't.
No,
stop.
we're not gonna. So we're not.
But that's my teaser. There's so much more. So many more.
Here's what I want to say: and look, there's only so much you can only force feed people so much before they're like, all right, I'm full. Yeah, I need a different. I need another day, another meal.
Are you gonna split this in half? How do you do this? 4 hours.
So I think we're just gonna keep this the way it is.
Okay.
I'll put chapter markers in there,
I got
so that people can literally click the video and then go to, if like here's George talking about Meek Mills. You know what I mean? So they can just click that. Because the thing is like most people, here's what I found in my experience. The clips matter.
Yeah.
Right? So if you do a whole podcast, this will be my longest ever.
I'm sorry about that.
No. Yeah. Like I just watched a Lex Friedman one. I don't know if you know who that is, but he had a 9-hour one.
Did you watch the whole thing?
I was jumping back and forth because I'm like, I don't know if I can commit. And then I was watching it like a time and a half. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Most people that I like to surround myself don't think of themselves. They're not egotists. They don't have, a lot of the times they're very humble.
Yeah.
And, I know that there are people that, like you said before, there are people that they were happy you were in jail. And there's people that were not happy at all.
Yeah.
And I personally think that you're a goddamn American hero.
On paper.
In my brain, because I have my First Amendment, I can think whatever the hell I want to think, and no one can disabuse me of that. I think if 0.001% of the population had the know-how and the self-determination that you have, I think this would be a better place to live.
Yeah.
And I think
there's some rules out there that says 1/2 of your county. That's all you need to do this type of work. 1/2 of your county.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, I know this. There are things I'm good at, things that I'm not. I don't know if you've inspired me to pay attention to things I wouldn't normally pay attention to, and to understand the world in a way that I've never understood it before.
Yeah, and I got more, but I know not to share.
I know.
I got to keep it away because I'm not using it now, so I keep it away.
Yeah, I also think you need a 10-part educational series that you could educate the American public and your friends on what to do. So here's what I'm proposing. We come back and we do the prison thing and what you went through in the 3 months of prison.
Okay.
And I think that is because there's too much, George.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, we might have to do month by month, like from,
we might
from day one to from day one to the first parole hearing.
What I would love to do is like I'm working on these data center things with Jamie.
Yeah.
And we're doing like these. He wanted to do a single documentary, and I'm like, Jamie, like we're at 51 minutes, and it's not even close to like what it needs to be. So we're trying to do like these multiple part things, and I would love to figure out a way to tell your story in like that way. I didn't know you had all this video evidence. I didn't know that you had.
Oh yeah, I got everything.
It's incredibly. I'm sure it's incredibly compelling.
I had Google glasses for the first 2 months in prison.
Are they allowed to know that? Like, can you tell them that? Like,
or did I? Am I telling a lie?
Is it a lie? Is it true?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think moving forward, let's get this out here. Let's see what the reaction is.
Yep.
I'm sure you have people that you can send it to.
Yep.
And I'm sure there's Citizens Advisory would be insane not to share this.
Yeah. I have a little beef, only like it's an administrative beef, and it's light because I love everybody. There's nobody I don't love,
Right.
But I had unfinished business with them, and they have unfinished business with me. And just before I went in, they were starting to address me for it, and just let them know I'm prepared to address anything they have.
I think you just let them know.
Yeah, address me. You guys have my address. Address me. Let's roll. Let's get moving. Let's get past whatever it is that you got, so we can get moving. Because the Sparrow Wars is way better than this solo eagle guy that can get winged. I've been winged.
Yeah.
And I need to come back to her, and I ain't gonna do it alone anymore because it just makes you vulnerable. But I learned a lot, and it could be helpful. Teach people what to do. What not to do.
what I've learned over the last few years is. This is the problem that bothers me, and we'll start to wrap it up. Is that you have this is not an indictment of anyone, but it's a constructive criticism where it's like you have these groups, and then something happens, and I don't know whether it's ego, insecurity, something, and everybody gets off mission. Like if let's say heaven is your North Star, anything that takes you away from that is not helping you get into heaven.
Right.
So my criticism to groups out there is that, sometimes you don't agree, and sometimes things don't work out right, but you got to stay on mission or else it's going to get worse for everybody. And then I have a note written down that I want to ask you when we stop, and don't answer it yet.
Are you? Oh, don't answer.
I have a name. No. I have a name written down that privately I want to ask you about.
When we're not on video.
Yeah.
10-4.
Yeah. So, goddamn, man, your story is. Everybody should know your story.
Yeah.
Everybody should know what you're going through. And I want the world to know that you are not crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You are not even close to being crazy. You might be annoying as shit to people who are bad.
Yeah, right.
But you are not at all what the perception. Before I met you, somebody said to me, "Oh, that guy's crazy," and I'm like, "Well, let me figure that out for myself."
Yeah.
And then I sat with you, and I'm like, "This guy's brilliant."
Yeah,
like
it's funny because I ran across a true guy in jail that is a paranoid bipolar schizophrenic disorder, right? But he won't take his meds. He's in jail. And he was hard to follow because he was smart on so many things. He was all over the map talking about Elon Musk and talking about Dogecoin, and he was talking about, and he truly knew stuff. Like, and I don't know if that's part of his problem or that he knows too much about everything, and then he doesn't know how to organize it. And then I got scared. I'm like, I think I sound like that sometimes.
Yeah, you're an autistic.
Yeah,
no.
like, oh no.
No, I've noticed. I find myself doing it. Or I start talking, and then I'm like, oh my god. And you don't do like. You have you think it's a distraction, and then you circle back because you're giving it context. Because I think you're a really good teacher.
Yeah.
And
I got to get better. Yeah.
I think the concepts are intense. Like for people, like people blindly walking into it, they're not going to understand it. People who want to know, they'll know.
Yeah.
You're not going to convince the people who don't want to know, or it's too complex.
Anybody who wants to know more, make sure they comment to you, and then you can.
You have no social media or anything, do you?
I have Facebook. You
Okay.
You can push people to my Facebook. You can communicate with people. You can try to distill it a little bit. Make sure that there's no.
Yeah, I'm not sending you people.
Make
who
sure
are
there's no
loonies.
crazies or whatever.
Yeah.
But anybody who thinks that they know a piece of the puzzle that they heard here, that they know how to put together, just find a way to get a hold of me. If you can distill them first, give them to me later.
I'll try my best.
Yeah, if that's and if you
I've had great friends turn out to be psychos. So
yeah. No, if you send me one, I'm fine. I'll deal with
Okay.
it too. I can deal with it all.
In the most hetero Jesus way, I love you.
I love
You're
you
a
too.
really good person.
I love you too.
You have a great heart.
Yeah.
And you're not dumb.
I can remember when I was first taking phone calls from visitors from jail and stuff, that hearing people's voice for the first time was choking me up, and I wasn't cool with that. But once I talked to everybody one time, it's like it gets out of your system, because I felt like I was letting people down. Right?
Not at all, George.
That I got jammed up because I was worried. Oh shit, people are gonna be afraid to do the work now. But these people really went out of their way to make sure they got me in there for that duration, and we'll talk about it. I was thinking of trying to find a way to put a teaser up one morning about 2:30 in the morning in jail. I can hear this screaming and this crying, someone that got brought in a wheelchair. I'm pissed already, thinking, what the hell are you bringing a guy in here in a wheelchair? This isn't a convalescent ward, you know? This guy will not shut up. And he's throwing up in pain, you know, and he's trying to say, I need to go to the hospital. And at nighttime, they lock you down and they close these doors. And you can't hear it all the time. And if you're too noisy, the guards will actually move away from it because they're trying to sleep out in the hallway. So I'm like, I can't go to sleep. So I get up, I'm cleaned up, I'm get my hair fixed. I fix my freaking uniform or my outfit. You know, I'm ready to go. I roll up my pants. I'm sitting right by the door. I got a piece of paper and a pencil. And I don't know who this guy is. He's like 2 or 3 doors down. Just nobody can sleep. Everybody's pissed, man. 7 o'clock, that gate opened up. Boom. I went right down there. I go, what's your name? What's your phone number? What's your mother's name? And I'll leave it at that. And I'll tell you what I did with that next time we get together.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because like I got his information because I'm like, I got to do something about this, right? So
Yeah.
I went down there. This guy's like looking at me. He's got throw up on him. He's sweating. He's like, what's your name? And he's looking at me like I'm a CO because like I'm being all demanding because I knew their COs were going to be coming in soon. So I needed his information quickly, you know, before they carted him away. What's your name? What's your phone number? What's your mother's name? And I walked away. And when you come back later, I'll tell you what I did with that.
Oh my God. George, what a life so far, man. It hasn't been boring.
I love it.
I love you
it,
too,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
George Yuhas. Thanks a lot, brother.
Thank you.